Chapter 5862, I am very outstanding, nonsense. What are you trying to catch? It is a great fortune that he is willing to accept you as his disciple. President Gu slammed the table and roared angrily. He Xingjiu was immediately delighted. Looks like what the pretty boy said is true. Those two unworldly experts are indeed from the prehistoric branch. This fellow blinked his eyes. President, don't be so agitated. What I said just now was just that I had a dream. It was just that this dream was too real, so I came to you. President Gu. He was so angry that he almost cringed. He had seen naughty students before, but this was the first time he had seen such a capable student like this. Just a dream, and he came to him with such a bashful expression. It was absolutely detestable. Yin Qingqing. President Gu slammed the table hard. You are getting more and more outrageous. You actually tricked me. Man. Send Yin Qingqing to the discipline department and deal with her seriously. President, don't be agitated. Listen to my explanation first. I can't escape anyway. You can punish me however you want. Brother guard, go out first. After I have a private talk with the president, you can come and arrest me, He Xingjiu said with a smile. The guard naturally wouldn't listen to her. Instead he looked at President Gu. President Gu suppressed the anger in his heart and waved his hand at the guard. After the guard went out, he said with a cold face, What do you have to explain? Yin Qingqing, on account of your previous meritorious service, I have been extremely lenient towards you. I didn't expect you to become more and more outrageous. You're really useless. President, I remember all the good you've done for me. I didn't mean to lie to you. I really had that dream. I probably had a dream every day. A few days ago you vehemently objected to my way of doing things, so I thought, why are you so agitated? After thinking about it, I felt that there must be some teachers in our primal institution who are still alive and kicking. That's why you had such a big reaction. Am I right? President Gu's expression did not change, but he was very shocked in his heart. This Yin Qingqing was practically turning into a demon. The 6 chancellors did not notice the abnormality, but she guessed correctly. Seeing that President Gu did not speak, Yin Chujio sighed. President Gu, I was forced into a corner. These few days, Ding Wenru and I have been living in the abyss of suffering. I suddenly grabbed onto this life-saving straw. Of course, I was ecstatic. If there were still living teachers in our primal institution, who would dare to bully us? President Gu, please be a good person and let me meet my master. I'm sure he will be very happy to see such an outstanding student like me. President Gu was speechless. Where did you get your confidence from? Master? Outstanding? If those two knew that the primal region had taken in such a good-for-nothing like you, they might send you flying with a slap. They might even implicate him in getting scolded. President Gu wanted to deny it, but on second thought, this Yin Qingqing had a stomach full of schemes. Now that she was certain of this matter, it was useless for him to deny it. He thought for a moment and said, The 2 seniors have long stopped asking about the matters of the primal region. Don't expect too much. In addition, if the 2 of them know of your and Ding Wenru's existence, I'm afraid that you won't even be able to stay in the upper academy. After all, the criteria for the primal region to recruit students was very high in the past. So, you should give up on this idea and don't mention this to anyone else. Go back. Yun Chujio immediately straightened her back. Dean, I don't like what you're saying. So what if my standards are high? I'm not bad either. I think PM very outstanding and PM the only outstanding one. Chapter 5863 My luck is good. President Gu simply did not know where this fellow in front of him got his confidence from. Other than his broken mouth, what else was outstanding about him? President Gu thought that his self-restraint was relatively good, but at this moment he could not help but sneer. Yin Qingqing, tell me, what are your outstanding qualities? Yun Chujia's small face was full of pride. Let's not talk about my peerless beauty that could topple a country. Let's not talk about my earth-shattering talent. Just one thing, I am more outstanding than the others, not just a little bit. President Gu's mouth twitched violently. Peerless beauty? Peerless talent? Was this Yin Qingqing blind? He asked with a hint of sarcasm. Oh? Which point are you referring to? My luck is good. Look, I just casually went fishing and made a huge contribution. I just casually pursued him and got a cabbage like Northern you. I was casually sent to the Primeval Academy and casually won over everyone. Do you think my luck is heaven-defying? Am I very outstanding? President Gu endured it and did not say what he was thinking. The most outstanding thing about you was, how shameless. Yin Qingqing, it's useless for you to say all this. Not only does the prehistoric branch require a higher cultivation level than the other branches, it also requires 2 more skills. It's precisely because the requirements are so high that it has been unable to recruit suitable students. You can go back now. If you continue to pester me, I will order someone to send you to the disciplinary department for punishment. Yun Chujio immediately clapped her hands. Headmaster, after hearing what you said, I am indeed born to be my master's disciple. Although my cultivation is low now, my progress is fast. You see, I was previously at the 9th level of Spirit Extinguisher, but now I am already at the 1st level of Spirit Summoning. I can easily reach the 3rd or 4th level with a simple epiphany. Who can compare with such a cultivation speed? As for the 2 skills, I know how to craft talismans and refine pills. It's not that PM bragging, but as long as you give me some time, everyone in my blood torture talisman seal division and pill refining division will be able to advance. President Gu originally nodded when he heard Yun Chujio's first 2 sentences. After all, Yun Chujio's cultivation speed was truly astonishing. But when he heard the last 2 sentences, his nose nearly went crooked from anger. Blood torturing all the people from the talisman division and alchemy division? Why didn't you go to heaven? This Yan Qingqing had merely listened to a few classes and already felt that she was stronger than the students from the alchemy division and talisman division? Where did? President, if you don't believe me, I will carve a jade talisman for you right now and help you refine a batch of medicinal pills. President Gu interrupted her impatiently. All right, I don't have time to listen to your nonsense anymore. Since you have such confidence, I will give you a chance. During the 100-year grand competition, although the 2 seniors will not appear in public, they will still arrive at the venue of the grand competition. If you can obtain the qualifications to participate in the 100-year grand competition, I will let you meet the 2 of them at that time. If you are not even qualified to participate in the 100-year grand competition, don't mention this again in the future. President Gu did not intend to do so, but when he thought of Yun Chujio's stubborn character, he decided to let her give up. There were only 50 people qualified to participate in the 100-year grand competition, and the upper house was full of talented people. Even if Yan Qingqing risked her life, she would not be able to rank in the top 50. She could also use this opportunity to see her own capabilities, so that she would not think that she was extraordinary. Chapter 5864 The Trial of the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion. President, how can I obtain the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition? Is it the trial of the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion that is about to begin? Yun Chujio asked curiously. President Gu did not conceal it. That's right. Only the top 50 of the trial of the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion can obtain the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition. If you want to meet those 2 seniors, you have to first obtain the top 50 first. Yun Chujio immediately said confidently, Top 50? What's so difficult about that? Even the top 5 are effortless. President Gu was so angry that he was amused. This Yan Qingqing simply did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. He would just have to wait and see. Before leaving, He Xingjiu took out a small paper bag. President, I have some tea leaves here. The taste is not bad. You can keep them and drink. Before President Gu could say anything, He Xingjiu jumped away. President Gu opened the paper bag carelessly, but he was stunned. The tea leaves in the paper bag were green and fragrant. It was the most high-end tea in the divine enlightenment continent jasper sprouts. This small paper bag was worth millions of spirit stones, and even if one had spirit stones they might not be able to buy it. President Gus's mood was a little complicated. If Yun Chujio had given him something else, he wouldn't have been interested. However, he liked to drink tea and this gift really hit the nail on the head. However, where did this Yan Qingqing get the jasper sprouts? He Xingjiu naturally got them from Vice President Xiao. Now that Vice President Xiao had been possessed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, his things were He Xingjia's. This fellow had indeed plundered a lot of good things. Although this fellow was stingy, she would still spend the money she needed. Recently, she had offended President Gu many times, so it was time to give her some benefits. Yun Chujio met many students on her way back to the primeval subdivision. Although no one went up to provoke her, it was inevitable that they would point at her and mock her. He Xingjiu sneered in her heart. Little rascals, just wait for your little 9th ancestor. They'll deal with you all after I take in my master. This fellow returned to the primeval institution and told Ding Wenru what had happened. Ding Wenru was instantly dumbfounded. Qingqing, what did you say? The top 50 of the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion? Not to mention the top 50, we might not even be able to enter the top 500? Everything depends on man. Don't worry, leave everything to me. Yun Chujio said confidently. Ding Wenru immediately shut her mouth and did not say anything. She just needed to hug King Cheng's thigh. Soon, it was the day of the trial of the Six Directions Waterside Pavilion. All the students of the upper house had to participate in the trial of the Six Directions Waterside Pavilion. Many of them felt uneasy. The reason was very simple. The Six Directions Waterside Pavilion was extremely dangerous. The demon beasts in the dome were captured from the Six Directions Waterside Pavilion. The ferocious aura on their bodies was simply terrifying. Fortunately, each of them carried a jade token with them. As long as they crushed the jade token, they could be teleported out in advance. At least they would not lose their lives. Before entering the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion, the students lined up according to their respective branches. Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru became particularly eye-catching. Jian Chenmis' eyes revealed a murderous look. These two bastards had beaten him up quite badly last time, but they did not receive any punishment in the end. This time, they had better pray that they did not meet him in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion. Otherwise they would die without a burial place. Jian Zhuyu was smiling and speaking happily, but the corner of her eyes also fell on Yun Chujio. Her eyes flashed. The Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion was different from other waterside pavilions, and there was no corresponding real-time transmission of the Shadow Stone. Yen Qingqing, you are going to be unlucky. Chapter 58-65 Yinyang Liken Xiao Lianxiao looked pleased with herself. Yesterday she went to see Director Xiaofu, and Director Xiaofu clearly told her that he had tampered with Yen Qingcheng's teleportation jade token, so she could rest assured. When she thought about how she was finally going to get rid of Yen Qingcheng, this big trouble, Xiao Lianxiao could not hide the joy in her heart. As for that hypocritical Jian Zhuyu, she would find another opportunity to deal with her in the future. While everyone was thinking about it, President Gu explained the rules and precautions of the trial. There was a special herb growing on the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion called Yinyang Lichen. This lichen was very special. Half of it was black and the other half was white. It lived under the surface of the ground all year round and was very difficult to find. The students' results were ranked by the number of Yinyang lichens found, and the top 50 were qualified to participate in the 100-year grand competition. Then President Gu announced the beginning of the trial. A white light flashed in front of the students' eyes, and they were all teleported into the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion. Since the teleportation location was random, everyone's landing point was different. When Hei Xinjiu regained her sight, she found that she was surrounded by tall trees, and it was dead silent. When she was looking around, she suddenly felt very hungry. This fellow could not help but curse. You damn de hua! All you do is eat and eat all day long. How many spirit stones have I fed you? How can you still be hungry? You good for nothing. Although this fellow cursed, it still released its red claws. After all, only by feeding it could she effectively alleviate this hunger. After the red claw swallowed the spiritual stones that Yun Chujio threw to it, it suddenly flew forward. Hei Xinjiu was furious. This damn claw. Did it want to fly freely? You 1,000-year-old single claw, stop right there. Hei Xinjiu shouted in exasperation as she chased after it. The red claw turned a deaf ear and kept flying forward. Soon Hei Xinjiu was left behind. The main reason was that the red claw could move freely in the forest. Hei Xinjiu had to avoid tree branches and other things. She also had to be careful not to be ambushed by other demonic beasts, so her speed was naturally much slower. Although the red claw flew fast, it still dissipated due to the exhaustion of spiritual energy. The Goei Batsao and Hei Xinjius Dantian shook its leaves. Tieske, this idiot didn't have the ability to hide a small treasury and still wanted to learn from it? He really overestimated himself. Hei Xinjiu was really angry. This dead claw was even worse than De Hua's. Just as she was thinking about it, a feeling of hunger came from her stomach again. Yun Chujio couldn't help but sneer. It seemed that this dead claw was intentional. It just wanted to come out. She wanted to see what it wanted to do. Hence, Yun Chujio released the red claw again. Once the red claw was released, it flew forward again. Yun Chujio was not in a hurry this time. She followed behind the red claw unhurriedly. Since her spiritual power was exhausted, the red claw also dissipated. After walking for a while, Hei Xinjiu found a tree covered in vines with small red wild fruits on it. This guy immediately stopped and began to pick wild fruits to eat. Needless to say, these wild fruits were sour and sweet and tasted pretty good. The red claw suddenly realized that Yun Chujio did not catch up, so it could only fly back and hook its toes at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio said while stuffing wild fruits into her mouth, "Go away. I don't have time to play with you." The red claw hooked its toes again, but when it saw that Yun Chujio still did not respond, it rushed toward Yun Chujio in anger. Chapter 5866. The Red Claw showed its power. Yun Chujio had expected this. She dodged the attack of the Red Claw nimbly and sneered, "You damn claw! You still want to hit me? Be careful, or Pilo complained to the Prince Charming. They'll kill you." The Red Claw shivered and immediately became as quiet as a chicken. Hei Shinjio could not help but feel jealous. These damn dumb cuties were all snobbish. She was their master and she was so awesome. Why were they more afraid of the gigolo? Could it really be because of her temperament? Seeing that the Red Claw was not moving anymore, Yun Chujio continued to pick wild fruits to eat. After a while, the Red Claw flew around Hei Shinjio in annoyance. At first, Hei Shinjio ignored it. Later, seeing that it was so annoyed that it wanted to hit a tree, she curled her lips. "Do you want to take me somewhere?" The Red Claw nodded excitedly. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, thinking that there was no harm in going to take a look. She wanted to see what the damn claw was up to. At that moment, she heard someone walking and talking in the distance. Yun Chujio frowned and dispersed the Red Claw. Then she jumped onto a big tree next to her and used the lush leaves to hide herself. Fuck, I'm so unlucky. How did I get teleported into this dense forest? I heard that the Inyang lichen doesn't usually appear in the forest. Aren't we wasting our time here? Yeah, it's a good thing that we met. If I were alone, I would be even more uncertain. The two men who spoke were dressed in Talisman Script Academy uniforms. Yun Chujio really knew them. These two were Jian Shenmu's lackeys. One of them took out a map and said, "Jian Shenmu told us to gather by the stream after we enter. Let's hurry over." This time, Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru will be in big trouble. There's no array to transmit images in this 6 directions waterside pavilion, so there's no need to have any scruples. Unless they're lucky and can't meet us. Otherwise, according to Jian Shenmu's character, hell definitely kill them. The other person said. That's their own fault. Wasn't that Yan Qingqing very cocky before? Why hasn't she said anything recently? Why doesn't she think about it? There are only the two of them in the primal institution. What right does she have to fight with us? Yes. That's right, she's still boasting shamelessly that she wants her territory back. In your dreams. This time go to hell and get it. Ah. Yun Chujio heard the conversation between the two clearly, and the corner of her mouth revealed a cold smile. She secretly took out a large bag of chili noodles from her storage ring and threw it at the two people below. The two people were talking happily when they suddenly felt the sound of wind coming from above. They subconsciously dodged to the side, and the big bag of chili noodles immediately fell to the ground, instantly flying in all directions. Achoo. Achoo. What the hell is this thing? Ah, my eyes, it hurts so much. While the two people were crying and howling, Yun Chujio jumped down from the tree, released her red claws and said with her spiritual sense, "If you want me to go with you, then take care of these two trash." Yun Chujio felt that De Hua had been so brave before. There was no reason for the red claws to be so useless. They must be faking it. Sure enough, after hearing Yun Chujio's words, the red claws suddenly became several times bigger and lashed out viciously at one of the people. That person was immediately sent flying by the red claws and crashed into a towering tree in the distance. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. The other man sneezed and retreated in fear. However, he was not as fast as the red claw. He was immediately pinned to the ground by the red claw. Chapter 5867 Subjugation. Hei Shinjio widened her eyes. My goodness. I didn't expect that the dead claw would be so powerful after it went crazy. This guy restrained the spiritual power of the two people and then took out a small dagger. He cut the neck of the person who was still conscious, and blood gushed out immediately. The person was so scared that his face turned pale. Yan Qingqing, you. Don't mess around. If you kill me, you won't be able to recover either. Yun Chujio chuckled. TSK, didn't you say just now? There's no array to transmit images in this 6 directions water pavilion. Even if I kill you, who would know? When the time comes, it'll destroy your corpse and wipe out all traces. Everyone will treat it as if you were eaten by a demonic beast. The man's face turned even paler as he pleaded, Yan Qingqing, every injustice has its head and every debt has its owner. Back then, it was Jian Shenmu who instigated the tearing down of the wall and beating people up. It has nothing to do with me. He was extremely envious of his companion who had fainted. If he had known this would happen, he would have just crashed into a tree. I will naturally take care of Jian Shenmu, but I will not let go of a lackey like you. You have a share in throwing dog blood on the door of our primal institution, right? Throwing dirty things at the entrance of our primal institution did not go unnoticed by you, right? Tell me, if I don't kill you, do you think I will let you live for the new year? As Yun Chujio spoke, she held a dagger and gestured back and forth on his face. The man trembled in fear. I was wrong. Please spare me this time. I will do whatever you want me to do. The corners of Yun Chujio's lips curled up. You will do whatever I want you to do? Okay, swallow this pill. Before the man could resist, Yun Chujio stuffed the pill into his mouth. The other man who had just woken up was also fed a pill. Immediately, a shrill scream was heard in the dense forest. The two people rolled on the ground in pain and begged for mercy. Yun Chujio took out a spirit fruit and looked at the miserable state of the two people with a smile as she chewed on it. It was not until the two people were about to faint from the pain that Yun Chujio said, "From now on, you will follow me. Do you have any objections?" The two of them did not dare to have any objections. They nodded their heads like garlic. As long as they were not in so much pain, they would do anything. Yun Chujio then fed the two of them the antidote and said, "I don't trust you yet, so you give me the jade token for your escape as collateral." The two of them had no other choice but to nod their heads in agreement. The two of them looked at Yun Chujio anxiously, not knowing what she wanted them to do next. Go and find Jianxi. The two of them looked at each other, and one of them asked carefully, "Then, when will you return the jade token to us? After all, this Six Harmonies waterside pavilion is too dangerous. If we don't have the jade token, we want to know for sure." Yun Chujio laughed lightly. "It's very simple. When you work together to help me kill Jian Shenmu, I will return the jade token to you." The two of them felt their legs go weak and almost collapsed to the ground. This Yan Qingqing was really too despicable. In this way, wouldn't they be on the same boat as her? But what could they do? If they didn't have the escape jade token, they would be no different from waiting for death on this Six Harmonies waterside pavilion. The two of them could only nod and agree bitterly. They walked in front while Yun Chujio followed behind them at a distance. After taking a few steps, Yun Chujio remembered about the Red Claw. She used her spiritual sense to comfort the Red Claw. "They'll go and take care of Jian Shenmu first. Then he'll follow you to where you want to go." She did not know whether the Red Claw suddenly understood or not, but after Yun Chujio finished speaking, the Red Claw did not show any abnormalities and soon disappeared. Chapter 58-68. They did not want to die, yet Yun Chujio played with the two jade tokens that she had just collected. Their names were carved on them, Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang. Although such a fence-sitter was not good, they had one advantage, which was that they were easy to control. She could command them with both kindness and power. Since she wanted to stay in the 10 Directions Academy for a long time, she had to train some lackeys. Tsk, these two were really lucky to be the first batch of subordinates of her little 9th patriarch. If Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang knew what this fellow was thinking, they would probably be so angry that they would vomit blood. They didn't want such luck, okay? They were not too far from the edge of the forest at the moment. 4 hours later, Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang successfully walked out of the dense forest according to the map in their hands. They turned around and looked at He Xingjiu, who waved at them with a smile. They felt that the smiling He Xingjiu was no different from a demon, so they gritted their teeth and continued walking forward. Soon, the two of them arrived at the stream where they were supposed to meet, and they saw Jian Shenmu pacing back and forth anxiously from afar. Jian Shenmu saw them and cursed, "You guys are finally here. Damn it, I wonder where the others have been teleported to." Not a single person came. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang smiled apologetically and said a few words. Jian Shenmu then said, "Let's wait another day. If no one comes, we won't wait anymore. I can't wait to kill Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru right now. Especially Yan Qingqing. If it wasn't for her, Ding Wenru wouldn't have the guts to go against me. When I meet her, I'll definitely kill her. However, before I kill her, I have to play with her first. After all, she's the woman of the Northern Army. The thought of being able to play with the women of the Northern Army makes me extremely excited." Ah. Seeing Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang's stiff expressions, he added, "Don't worry. After I'm done playing with her, he'll reward you guys with some fun. Although that damn girl's figure is shriveled, her skin is tender and tender. It'll be a different kind of experience." Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang almost collapsed to the ground, laughing happily. Forget it. They didn't want to die yet. At this moment, Yun Chujio slowly walked over from afar. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang rejoiced in their hearts. Fortunately, they were far enough away. This demon shouldn't have heard Jian Shenmu's previous words. Otherwise, he might have vented his anger on them. However, Jian Shenmu was extremely excited. This bitch Yan Qingqing actually took the initiative to deliver herself to their doorstep. She was really courting death. Be alert later. No matter what, we can't let her escape today, do you understand? Jian Chenmu instructed Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang in a low voice. The two of them nodded and thought in their hearts, we can't let her escape? The one who can't escape is you. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou had already walked in front of the three of them. Jian Chenmu grinned hideously and said, Yan Qingqing, you sure are brave. You actually didn't run when you saw us? However, it's useless even if you run. A trash like you won't be able to escape from us at all. Yun Chuzhou showed a terrified expression. What do you want to do? The corners of Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang's mouths twitched violently. They finally knew what a drama queen was. Not long ago she was threatening them fiercely, but now she turned into a little white rabbit. She was really shameless. However, Jian Chenmu was extremely pleased with himself. He said with malicious intentions, Yan Qingqing, if you want to live you have to be more sensible. Although your figure is not that good and your looks are average, if you serve the three of us well, I might spare your little life. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang stood behind Jian Chenmu and shook their heads and waved their hands at He Xingjiu, expressing their innocence. They didn't want to be punished by the little devil again. Chapter 58-69, Demon. When Yun Chuzhou heard Jian Chenmu's words, a murderous intent flashed across her eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. She said with a trembling voice, At worst, I will crush the jade token and give up on the assessment. What else can you do to me? Jian Chenmu laughed even more savagely when he heard that. He took out an array disc made of jade talismans and said, See? This is a spirit-locking array disc. Your jade token won't work within 1,000 feet. Yun Chuzhou's eyes immediately lit up. This thing was not bad. It was simply a sharp weapon that could kill people and steal their treasures. She gave Liang Hong and Yin Zhang a look. Tiang Hong reacted faster and immediately understood what she meant. He said to Jian Chenmu, Chenmu, you have to deal with her personally to vent your anger. It'll help you hold this spirit-locking formation disc so that it won't get in the way later. Jian Chenmu did not suspect him and immediately handed the spirit-locking formation disc to Jiang Hong. Yun Chuzhou immediately put away her pitiful look and slapped Jian Chenmu. You bitch, you actually dare to make a move. You're really courting death. Jian Chenmu dodged Yun Chuzhou's palm wind and was about to release his spiritual beast when a gust of cold wind came from behind him. Although he tried his best to dodge, his back was still hit by the palm. He turned his head in disbelief and saw that it was Yin Zhang who attacked. Yin Zhang, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Jian Chenmu was both angry and shocked as he shouted. Yin Zhang did not reply. He released his spirit beast and attacked Jian Chenmu again. At the same time, Yun Chuzhou took the spirit-locking disc from Jiang Hong's hand and pouted. Let's attack together and end this quickly. Jian Chenmu could not believe what he was seeing. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang were clearly his people. Why would they help Yan Qingqing kill him? Do you two want to die? If cousin Zhiyu finds out that you killed me, she will not let you off. Our Jin family will not let you off either. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang hesitated. The Jin family was powerful. If they really killed Jian Chenmu, wouldn't they be in trouble? Yun Chuzhou chuckled. If you don't kill him, there will be endless trouble. According to his personality, will he let you off? Don't worry, there is no array to transmit the images here. No one will know that you killed him. Just treat it as if he was eaten by a demonic beast. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang gritted their teeth. Yan Qingqing was right. They would not rest until they were done. Since they had already fallen out, killing Jian Chenmu was the best choice. Therefore the two of them intensified their attacks on Jian Chenmu. Jian Chenmu's cultivation was one level higher than Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang. In addition, he had a lot of spiritual art. For a time, Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang really could not kill him. If it were not for the 6 Harmonies waterside pavilion prohibiting the use of talismans, the two of them would not have been Jian Chenmu's match. Yun Chuzhou had been watching the show from the side. Seeing this, she had no choice but to release her red claws. This guy used the same trick again. He coaxed the red claws to unleash their power again and pressed Jian Chenmu to the ground with one claw. Yun Chuzhou directly released a fireball with small flames, burning Jian Chenmu into ashes. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang were so frightened that their faces turned ashen. They had a trace of doubt before, thinking that Yan Qingqing was just scaring them, and that she might not really dare to kill them. But now they no longer had a trace of luck. This Yan Qingqing was simply a demon who killed without batting an eye. She had actually burned Jian Chenmu to death. Yun Chuzhou picked up Jian Chenmu's storage ring from the ashes and put it into her own storage ring naturally. Chapter 58-70 Ding Wenru went to the Red Valley. Yun Chuzhou was about to say something when she saw the red claws fly forward. She rolled her eyes and said to Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang, You two go find Ding Wenru and be responsible for protecting her. Also, if you find the Yin Yang lichen, it will all belong to her. Do you have any objections? Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang didn't dare to say they had any objections and hurriedly nodded. Only then did Yun Chuzhou return their jade tokens to them and send them away. Since they had already killed Jian Shenmu, there was no way out. They weren't afraid that they would betray them. After Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang left, Yun Chuzhou chased after them in the direction where the Red Claws had left. They had been walking for several hours. He Xingjiu wondered as she walked. Didn't they say that there were many ferocious demonic beasts in the Six Directions water pavilion? Why didn't she meet any of them along the way? Was it because she was too lucky, or were all the demonic beasts dead? Seeing that the Red Claws had no intention of stopping, the creature said impatiently, "Hey, Dehua, where are you taking me? I still need to find the Yin Yang lichen." The Red Claws could not speak, so it naturally could not answer her. It only conveyed an anxious emotion. Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to continue following it. In the end, this thing was very protective. Although she despised and cursed the Red Claw, she felt that there must be a reason for the Red Claw to do so, so she patiently followed it. As they walked, the sky turned dark. Yun Chuzhou was afraid of encountering any danger, so she found a place to rest. The Red Claw turned a few times anxiously, but it did not do anything again. The next morning, He Xingjiu continued to follow the Red Claw. After walking for a short while, she met Jian Zhuyu and his group. Jian Zhuyu was followed by more than a dozen people, and it was obvious that she was the leader. Jian Zhuyu saw Yun Chuzhou and his eyes flashed. He smiled and said, "Yan Qingqing, this Six Harmonies waterside pavilion is very dangerous. Why don't you come with us? We can take care of each other." Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. "Thank you for your kindness, but I still feel more at ease by myself." The people behind Jian Zhuyu immediately mocked her. "Yan Qingqing, don't be so shameless. Since Zhuyu is willing to bring you along, you should be burning incense. How dare you reject her?" "Tisit. I think she's sick. If she doesn't want to follow us, then forget it. It's better if she's eaten by a demonic beast." I think she wants to look for Beiyu." "TSK, don't you think that the size of the Six Harmonies waterside pavilion is astonishing? Where can she find Beiyu?" Jian Zhuyu did not show any signs of dissatisfaction. She content. "Oh right, I forgot to tell you. I saw Ding Wenru heading towards the Red Valley in the south. You can go look for her." Yun Chuzhou took a deep look at Jian Zhuyu. Jian Zhuyu felt a little uncomfortable looking at her before she retracted her gaze. "Then thank you for telling me. Goodbye." Jian Zhuyu looked at Yun Chuzhiu's back and revealed a cold smile. This Yan Qingqing had the best relationship with Ding Wenru. She would definitely go to the Red Valley to look for her without thinking. At that time she would definitely die. There were many high-level demon beasts gathered in the Red Valley, and they were all very fierce. The demon beasts in the Beast Master Scope's dome were captured from the Red Valley. The reason why she was not afraid of Yun Chuzhou crushing the jade plate to escape was because she met Xiao Lianxiao on the way. From her words, she could tell that there was something wrong with Yun Chuzhiu's escaped jade plate. Chapter 5871 Red Valley. Yun Chuzhou was not a fool. She naturally knew that Jian Zhuyu was up to no good. Ding Wenru was not a fool. She clearly knew that the Red Valley was very dangerous, so how could she possibly go there? Therefore Yun Chuzhou planned to ignore it. Who would have thought that as she walked, she would discover that the direction the Red Claws told her to go was the Red Valley. Yun Chuzhou immediately stopped walking. "Dehua, you're not going to send me to my death in the Red Valley, are you? I still need to find the Yin Yang lichen to qualify for the grand competition. I don't have the time to play with you and those demonic beasts." The Red Claw naturally wouldn't give up. It flew around her anxiously. If Yun Chuzhou hadn't threatened it before, it would probably have slapped her away with one claw. Just as she was in a stalemate with the Red Claw, Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang caught up, panting. Yun Chuzhou said in confusion, "Didn't I tell you to look for Ding Wenru? Why are you back?" Yin Zhang panted and said, "Student Yin, we were going to look for Ding Wenru, but we heard that she was heading towards the direction of the Red Valley, so we chased after her." Yun Chuzhou was stunned. "Who did you hear it from? It couldn't be Jian Zhuyu and the others, right?" Yin Zhang shook his head. "We didn't hear it from them. We met a few people from the refining department and heard it from them." Yun Chuzhou frowned. The people from the refining department said that? The people from the refining department didn't have to lie to Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang. Besides, others didn't know that they were their own people. Ding Wenru had always tried to avoid danger. Why did she lose her mind and go to the Red Valley this time? Could it be that there was another reason? She gritted her teeth. Anyway, this damned claw also wanted her to go to the Red Valley, so she would go and take a look. Let's go. You guys follow me to the Red Valley to take a look, Yun Chujio said to Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang. Although the two of them didn't want to go, they thought about it. At worst, they could just crush the jade token and go out. It wasn't a big deal. Thus, the three of them headed towards the Red Valley together. Since Yun Chujio already knew the destination, the Red Claw didn't make any more trouble and came out to lead the way. Student Yin, I have to say that your luck is really good. Ever since we left you, we have encountered quite a few groups of demonic beasts. Why can't we encounter any of them after following you? Jiang Hong said in a somewhat fawning manner. Hearing this, Yun Chujio became more and more suspicious. Yes, why didn't she encounter any demon beast? It was really strange. At sunset, the three of them arrived at the entrance of the reason why the Red Valley was named was because the soil and rocks here were bright red, as if they were stained with blood. Yun Chujio didn't know why, but a trace of grief and indignation appeared in her heart. She frowned. This emotion didn't belong to her. Could it be a Red Claw? What did it want her to do here? And why did Ding Wenru come here? Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang's faces were full of anxiety. They held the escape jade token tightly in their hands. As long as something was wrong, the two of them would crush the jade token to escape. Student Yin, it's getting late now. It's too dangerous if we enter rashly. Why don't we wait until tomorrow morning to go in? Yeah, maybe Ding Wenru has already crushed her jade token and left. We don't have to take the risk. At this moment, a cry for help came from the valley. Yun Chujio immediately jumped into the valley because the cry was Ding Wenru's voice. Chapter 5872. Could it be that they were afraid of the Red Claws? Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang looked at each other when they saw Yun Chujio leap into the valley. Were they going to follow her or not? If they didn't follow her, the little devil would definitely teach them a lesson. However, what if they were in danger if they followed her? Jiang Hong gritted his teeth. If the situation isn't right, well, crush the jade token. She can't blame us. Yin Zhang felt that what he said made sense and immediately nodded in agreement. The two of them also rushed into the valley. The two of them tried their best to catch up, but the distance between them and Yun Chujio kept increasing. When the two of them saw Yun Chujio's ghostly figure in front of them, they couldn't help but feel puzzled. Yen Qingcheng's cultivation was lower than theirs, so why was her movement so fast? At this moment, Yun Chujio stopped in front of them and the two of them finally caught up. The two of them followed Yun Chujio's gaze and saw two people sitting on the ground. They knew each other. One of them was the Devi PS follower, Ding Wenru, and the other was Nangong Shi from the weapon refining branch. Both of their bodies were covered in blood. It was obvious that their injuries were not light. Ding Wenru looked at Yun Chujio and said with great effort, "Qingqing, you're here?" Nangong Shi didn't have the strength to speak anymore. He was gasping for breath. There were bloodstains on the ground and the corpses of two demon beasts. Jiang Hong cried out in surprise, "These are red-eyed raging bears of the 5th level of the Moon Seal. You actually killed two of them? How did you do it?" The 5th level of the Moon Seal was equivalent to the 5th level of the Divine Summoning Realm for human cultivators. Although Nangong Shi was at the 5th level of the Divine Summoning Realm, Ding Wenru was only at the 8th level of the Divine Summoning Realm. It was quite difficult for the two of them to kill two red-eyed raging bears of the 5th level of the Moon Seal. Moreover, they had vaguely seen the shadows of a few demon beasts that had fled in a hurry. This meant that these two demon beasts were not the only ones that had surrounded them previously. Why did those demon beasts escape? Logically speaking, those demon beasts should be more excited. After all, the cultivation levels of the three of them were not as high as Nangong Shigeo's. Yun Chujio had also thought of this. Why did those demon beasts flee like the wind? She suddenly remembered the abnormal reaction of those demonic beasts in the dome. At that time she thought that she wanted to eat meat and scared those demonic beasts. However, it didn't seem like that was the case now. However, it was better to leave the Red Valley first. Who knew? Therefore she asked Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang to help her help Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru to leave the valley. However, she didn't expect the Red Claw to express its protest. Yun Chujio frowned and asked with her spiritual sense, "You want me to stay here? Aren't you afraid that I will be eaten by the demon beasts?" Although Yun Chujio didn't understand what the Red Claw wanted to say, it clearly wanted her to stay in the valley and continue to move forward. Yun Chujio suddenly had a guess. Could it be that the demon beasts were afraid of the Red Claw? That's right. Ever since she entered the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion, she hadn't encountered a single demon beast. It must be because they were afraid of the Red Claw and ran away without a trace. Then the question came. Why were the demon beasts afraid of the Red Claw? She thought again. It seemed that only the demon beasts in the Six Harmonies waterside pavilion were afraid of the Red Claw. Could it be that De Hua had some relationship with the Six Harmonies waterside pavilion? Thinking of this, she asked the Red Claws with her spiritual sense, "Are all the beasts here afraid of you?" The Red Claw's smug mood was immediately transmitted through her spiritual sense. Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. Then she said to Ding Wenru and the others, "You guys go out of the valley first. I'll stay here for a while." Chapter 5873, Tao Tai. Ding Wenru had already recovered some of her strength after taking the pill. She said, "Qingqing, you can't stay here. This red valley is quite strange. The escape jade token won't work here. I'll be bad if those demon beasts come back again." Nangongsher echoed, "Yes, the demon beasts here are very fierce. It's night now. You can't stay here. It's too risky." Hearing that, Yun Chujio glanced at them. "Oh right, I haven't had the chance to ask you guys why you're here. Don't you know that this red valley is very dangerous?" Ding Wenru's expression was a little unnatural. Nangongsher coughed dryly and said, "It's nothing. It's just that this red valley produces a kind of crimson bead bloodstone, which is a good material for refining artifacts. That's why we came to look for the crimson bead bloodstone." Initially, everything was going very smoothly. Who would have thought that we would suddenly encounter several demonic beasts? We originally wanted to crush the escape jade token and get out. Who would have thought that it would be useless? That's why we let out a cry for help. Yun Chujio glanced at the two of them. She knew that the matter would definitely not be so simple, but she did not ask any further. It was not too late to ask after the trial ended. "I see. I have something to do. You guys go out and wait. I will be fine," Yun Chujio said without any objections. Ding Wenru and Nangongsher saw that she was insistent, so they could only give her a few instructions. They were supported by Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang as they walked out of the valley. Yun Chujio walked towards the depths of the Red Valley. She had only walked for a short while when she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Wait a moment." Yun Chujio turned her head and saw Di Baiming coming from afar. The moonlight shone on his body and he was shrouded in a holy halo. The first thought that popped up in He Xinjia's mind was, why did the pretty boy always bring a halo with him every time he appeared? Why did she always appear in such a sorry state? Why are you here? He Xinjio asked sourly. A certain someone really didn't know what was wrong with his wife's sour tone. He said truthfully, "I overheard the conversation of the people from the Talisman Seal Division. I figured that you would come to the Red Valley, so I rushed here." Yun Chujio curled her lips. "It's Jin Ziyu's lackeys, right? They can't wait for me to die here." "Humph. Those coquettish bitches would never know that my little ninth patriarch has De Hua in his hands. He can pass through the Six Harmonies waterside pavilion unimpeded." Di Baiming did not show too much surprise. He asked, "The reason why you rushed to the depths of the valley was also because of that idiot De Hua. Did you know about this long ago?" Di Baiming tidied her hair, which had been messed up by the wind, and then said, "Since I know about the two Grand Elders, I naturally know some other secrets of the 10 Directions Academy." The 6 Directions waterside pavilion was the core of the array that imprisoned the Tao Tai. The demonic beasts on the 6 Directions waterside pavilion were stained with the fierce aura of the Tao Tai. Therefore they were especially fierce. And because they were stained with the fierce aura of the Tao Tai, they were afraid of De Hua. After all, De Hua's real body is the Tao Tai. He Xinjio suddenly understood when she heard Di Baiming's words. So that was the reason. No wonder she summoned the Red Claw when she arrived at the Academy of 10 Directions. It turned out that De Hua's real body was imprisoned here. He Xinjio glared at Di Baiming and said snappily, "Why did you tell me this when you already knew about it?" Chapter 5874. Watching people cook. "I'm afraid that you won't be able to keep your cool and act rashly after you know about it, which will bring unnecessary trouble," Di Baiming said indifferently. He Xinjio said unwillingly, "You say it as if I'm a troublemaker. Even if I know about it, I might not really do anything." Di Baiming glanced at Yun Chujio with a faint smile, and his meaning could not be more obvious. He Xinjio coughed guiltily, "Why are you looking at me like that? Although I do mess around sometimes, I know what PM doing. I won't mess around." "Humph, you deliberately didn't tell me. You want to see me as a joke." Di Baiming smiled bitterly and sighed. "Firstly, PM afraid that you won't be able to control your temper. Secondly, although De Hua is your spiritual beast, it is obviously not under your control. Although the 4 ferocious beasts have their own strengths, Tao Tai is the most brutal one. Moreover, it doesn't have a bottom line like the other 3 demon beasts. When it goes crazy, it will swallow everything. Now it has only materialized a claw. You can't subdue it. If you release its true form rashly, are you sure that you can subdue it? Although Hei Xinjiu was not convinced, she still had some agreement in her heart. Whether it was De Hua from before or the Red Claw now, they were both extremely unruly and difficult to tame. The reason why they were able to listen to her orders was because they each had their own needs. If she really released its true form, she really did not have any confidence in subduing it. At least what you said makes sense. Should we continue to move forward or turn back now? That dead claw has been tormenting me ever since we entered the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion. If I don't do as it says, it will make me very hungry. It's really annoying. Yun Chujio pouted and said. Di Baiming's face immediately darkened. Release it and PLO warn it to prevent it from tormenting you again. As soon as Di Baiming finished speaking, Yun Chujio felt the strong desire for survival from the Red Claw. Although she couldn't speak, the begging that was transmitted to Yun Chujio was simply too obvious. Yun Chujio was angry and amused at the same time. Damn it, she didn't see it being so obedient when she was scaring it previously. Now the gigolo only said one sentence and it was frightened to this extent. It was really like watching a person leave a dish. Prince Charming, it's not too late to deal with it after we get out. Let's go see where it wants to go first. Even if we don't release its main body, we can still do it in our hearts. Di Baiming couldn't help but sigh. You're really too indulgent with spiritual pets. Do you see how the little perv? Yun Chujio touched her nose and couldn't help but think of the little perverted dragoness expression when it was told that it was going to be taken away by Di Baiming last time. It looked as pitiful as it could be. It was enough to show what kind of life it usually lived. It was said that Di Baiming often threw it into the pile of demonic beasts. If it had the ability, it would live. If it did not have the ability, it would die. However, it was because of Di Baiming's cold-blooded that the little dragon's cultivation was much higher than Xiao Hanio and the rest. It was just that Hei Xinjiu did not have such a ruthless heart. In this regard, she admitted that she was a little soft-hearted. No matter in her past life or present life, her greatest strength was that she was protective of her shortcomings. She could not stand to see the people or beasts she was protecting suffer or be bullied. Seeing that she did not speak, Di Baiming did not continue the topic. He said casually, since you want to go and take a look, I'll go with you. Let's go. Chapter 5875 was incomprehensible. Hei Xinjiu immediately grabbed Di Baiming's arm with a smile. Alright then, let's go and take a look. The two of them did not encounter a single demonic beast along the way. It could be said that they were unimpeded. I didn't expect De Hua to be so useful in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion. We definitely don't have to worry about our mission anymore. When the time comes, I'll get Xiao Hei to search for the Yin Yang lichen. I reckon that those guarding demonic beasts won't dare to make an enemy out of us. Humph. This time, not only do I want to be in the top 50, I also want to be in first place. I'll blind the snobbish eyes of Xiao Guzi. When the 100-year competition comes, I'll gladly take in 2 masters. In the future, I'll be able to do whatever I want in the 10 Directions Academy. When the time comes, I'll take back the treasures taken by the other branches and make them obediently pay the rent. Then I'll be rich. Let's see who dares to provoke me. I will kill him. Hei Xinjiu said smugly. Di Baiming saw that she was so smug that she was almost standing shoulder to shoulder with the moon, so he poured cold water on her. Don't think so optimistically. It is said that the 2 grand elders are grumpy and have not taken in any disciples for so many years. It may not be so easy for you to become their disciple. Hei Xinjiu snorted, who cares if they are grumpy or not? I am now the only 2 students of the prehistoric academy. They have to accept me or I will kill them. Di Baiming thought of his wife's evil ways and could not help but light a candle for the 2 grand elders. Although the 2 chatted as they walked, they were not slow. In the blink of an eye, they had reached a cliff that reached into the clouds. There was no way forward. This should be the end of the Red Valley. On the other side of the cliff is Misty Lake, Di Baiming said. Yun Chujio looked around and did not see anything unusual, so she released her red claw. After the red claw was released, it pointed at a certain lord like a Maneki Nico. It was very obedient. Hei Xinjiu was suddenly angry and said unhappily, Alright, let's get down to business. What do you want us to do here? The red claw was about to fly into a rage, but when it saw a certain one beside Yun Chujio, it obediently floated to the side of the cliff and stuck its entire claw to one part of the cliff. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes and looked. She did not know what the red claw was up to. At this moment, Yun Chujio was surprised to see a fiery red monster appear on the cliff. Although it was just an image, it could be judged that the monster's body was extremely huge. The Six Directions Pavilion was probably not even half as big as it. Its 4 limbs were chained, and the chain looked like it was made of 10,000-year-old black iron. Although the red monster's body was huge, its proportions were extremely strange. Its head took up more than half of its entire body. Its head was like a cow but also like a sheep. Its sharp teeth were like a tiger, and there was a pair of wings on its body. The claws were exactly the same as the red claws. It seemed that this was Tao Tai. You are Tao Tai? Although Yun Chujio did not know if the image could transmit sound, she still asked the question in her heart. Yes, it is me. You are really lucky to have my soul protection. Quickly let me out, I will not mistreat you. Tao Tai's huge mouth opened and closed and said with a bossy tone. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Speaking in human language, I don't understand what you're saying. Tao Tai. Chapter 5876. Don't save me, let me out quickly, I won't mistreat you. Do you understand now? Tao Tai said impatiently. Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and shook the tip of her toes. She curled her lips again. Why? Tao Tai became even more impatient. Do you even need to ask? I'm so smart and divine. With my help you can do whatever you want. Isn't that enough? TSK, you're really shameless. Since you're so capable, why are you locked up? Since you're so capable, come out yourself. Tao Tai almost fainted from anger. This wretched girl was as hateful as her previous life. If it wasn't for a coincidence, it would have eaten her. Although Tao Tai was ruthless, after being locked up for so many years, it finally learned its lesson. It let out a sigh of relief. I was joking just now. Look, we are already so familiar with each other. You even gave me the name De Hua. This is a good name. Please let me out. Tao Tai even felt that these words were a little fake. De Hua. Oh God. Oh God. He was a majestic, ferocious beast, but he was given such a name. Where was the justice in this? However, when it thought of Buttface, it immediately felt a lot better. At least its name was more refreshing, unlike Buttface who was so old-fashioned. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. It's useless to be familiar with it. If I save you, it'll definitely cause a lot of trouble. I can't protect myself now and am not in the mood to save you. Tao Tai was not a patient person. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, its face immediately turned ferocious. You'll be saved today and you'll be saved even if you don't. Otherwise, I'll slap you to death with my claws. A certain deity who had been silent all this while said plainly, Who are you going to slap to death? Tao Tai's entire attention was on He Xinjiu. It was not until then that he saw Di Biming beside him and immediately changed his words. I will slap myself to death with my claws. He Xinjiu. Tao Tai's huge eyeballs rolled around and he actually managed to squeeze out a few tears. Please save me. After all, you have the 3 Cheongqi with you. You don't need me anymore, do you? As long as you save me, I will agree to any conditions. Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. She finally realized that among the 4 great beasts, Hun Dun was the dumbest. Tao Wu was not a scheming person. Although Buttface was a little scheming, he was not a scheming person. However, this Tao Tai was different. Not only was it ferocious, but it was also very scheming. No wonder the pretty boy did not want her to save it. Seeing that Yun Chujio did not speak, Tao Tai begged again, Although I followed you in a split-soul state, I have helped you a lot. Even if you don't have any merits, you still have to work hard. And you are so protective of your shortcomings. You defin. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips. I can bear to. Tao Tai did not give up and continued to persuade, I am one of the 4 great fierce beasts. My ability is much stronger than Buttface and the others. Don't you want to kill everyone with my help? Yun Chujio, no. Tao Tai was so angry that it was dumbfounded. In the past, this stupid girl always tried to trick other idiots. But this time it took the initiative to let her do it. Why didn't she do it? It was really detestable. Yun Chujio yawned. Alright, it's already the middle of the night. I'm also sleepy. Go do what you should do. I have to find a place to sleep. Chapter 5877. Tao Tai's tragic past. Tao Tai saw that Yun Chujio was really going to turn around and leave. He couldn't take it anymore and roared, Stop right there. You have to save me today because you owe me. Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. I owe you? How funny, how do I owe you? Tao Tai seemed to be having an intense battle of thoughts. In the end, when he saw that Yun Chujio was still going to leave, he roared with grief and indignation. If it wasn't for you, would I have been a lonely beast? If it wasn't for the you from my previous life, would I have been locked up in this damned place? You vicious woman. I've had 8 lifetimes of bad luck when I met you. Not only did you make my wife disappear, but you also caused me to be locked up at the bottom of this dark and sunless lake. The most depressing thing was that my split soul had even become your spiritual beast. I Tao Tai am an ancient ferocious beast. I have committed all kinds of evil and have no conscience. I was actually harmed by you so miserably. You are simply not human. You are more ferocious than a ferocious beast. You are a devil. You are a pervert. Yun Chujio selectively filtered out the series of compliments that Tao Tai said after that. She asked with interest, "Hey Tao Tai, tell me, how did I do it? In my previous life I was actually so smart and so smart. I was even a little proud." Tao Tai almost fainted from anger. This stupid girl was indeed so infuriating. Tao Tai originally did not want to say such a shameful thing, but now in order to get out of trouble, it could only say it shamelessly. In my previous life I accidentally offended you, but my skin was rough and my flesh was thick. You didn't do anything to me. Later, I spread the news that I wanted to find a female to marry. Many female beasts had a good impression of me. On the day that I chose a concubine, many female beasts flocked to me. I still remember the grand occasion that day. Many beautiful female beasts threw flirtatious glances at me, all wanting to gain my favor. When Tao Tai said this, a nostalgic expression appeared on his face. However, in the blink of an eye, his expression turned ferocious as he continued, "You also came that day. You said that enemies should be resolved rather than tied. You even gave me a congratulatory gift and asked me to open it on the spot. How would I know that you were trying to harm me? When I saw your mysterious appearance, I was also a little curious. When I opened it, it turned out to be a costume." Yun Chujio touched her chin. Why would she give Tao Tai a costume in her previous life? Let it sing? Speaking of, I was a little tempted at that time. You urged me to eat the costume on the spot. I didn't think too much and ate the costume. Who would have thought that at that time? You didn't know what kind of formation you used, but what those females saw was actually I swallowed a female demon beast. I didn't know anything about this. I just finished eating that costume and you asked me, "Tao Tai, is my wife delicious? Do you still want to eat?" I thought you were asking about the costume, so I loudly said, "It's very delicious, eat as much as you can in the future." When the females heard what I said, they immediately scattered in all directions, not listening to my explanation at all. From then on, within a radius of 1,000 li, not a single female existed. The most infuriating thing was that even some of the females of the Zerg race had fled far away. Damn it, even if I'm not good enough, I still have to consider the reproductive isolation. Can I still marry a bug? Chapter 5878 deserved it, cough cough. Cough cough. Hei Shinjio almost choked to death on her own saliva when she heard Tao Tai's bloody and tearful accusation. She was really naughty in her previous life. She could even think of such an excellent, wicked, method. D. Biming's usually indifferent face showed a rare look of astonishment. This idiot Tao Tai was really a little miserable. Tao Tai probably held it in for too long as it roared with grief and indignation. From then on, I completely lost the hope of marrying a wife because no female dared to approach me. They all said that I married a wife just to eat her. No matter how I explained it, it was useless. To think that I, an ancient fierce beast, actually became a bachelor. I simply have no face to see a beast. This is all your fault. You're simply too wicked. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Although Yun Chujio felt a little guilty, she sneered on the surface. 1 to 1 mile per hour. Don't make yourself sound so innocent. You've said it yourself, you've offended me before. If you didn't offend me, would I have had the time to tease you? Besides, you're so fat, that costume must have cost a lot of money, especially the dark spirit stones on it. It's already good enough that I didn't ask you to pay for it. Also, in the end, your reputation is bad. You eat everything. That's why those female beasts believed my little trick. You're the one who's a foodie. Tao Tai was so angry that she was about to faint. Fine. Even if it has nothing to do with you that I can't find a wife, what about the fact that PM locked up here because of you? Tao Tai said through gritted teeth. Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and said, "What does it have to do with me that you are locked up here? How did I do it? Am I actually so outstanding?" Tao Tai rolled his eyes in anger. He comforted himself that he had endured for so many years. He could not afford to lose the big because of the small. Bear with it. You lied to me so miserably back then. Naturally, I would not let it go. So, I went to settle the score with you and prepared to eat you. Unfortunately, I was plotted against by you again. Not only did I not eat you, but I was also seriously injured by you. If I wasn't seriously injured, how could those lowly humans trap me? So this is all your fault. You are simply not a human. You are a pervert. You are a devil. Yun Chujio filtered out the words that Tao Tai praised her and curled the corners of her lips. You are about to eat me? What's wrong with me scheming against you? It's already good enough to keep you alive. You still have the face to shout at me? You've grown such a big head in vain, so you're actually a fool. Tao Tai. Yun Chujio looked at Tao Tai, who was about to be angered to death, and asked curiously, "Oh right, how did your split soul beck? Could it be that you know you're wrong and use it to atone for your sins?" Pui? I'm not guilty. This is just an accident. Our Tao Tai clan has a secret technique that can use a split soul to devour the spiritual consciousness of an external object. I originally wanted to devour your soul consciousness and make you a puppet so that I could vent my anger. But I didn't expect. At this point, Tao Tai shed 2 lines of tears in grief and indignation. I didn't expect that you, a pervert, would actually contract my split soul. Poor me, an ancient fierce beast. I actually failed to steal the chicken and ate the rice. Is there any beast in this world that is more miserable than me? Yun Chujio looked at it deeply. This isn't called miserable, it's called asking for it. If you didn't provoke me, I wouldn't have had the time to deal with you. This is entirely your own fault. I'll give you 2 words, you deserve it. Tao Tai. This stupid girl was really hard to deal with, but to make it acknowledge a thief as its father, no, abandoning the dark to the light was also wrong. In short, how could it acknowledge an enemy as its master? This was simply a great humiliation. Just as Tao Tai was struggling in its heart, Yun Chujio yawned, "Prince Charming, let's find a place to sleep. It doesn't matter whether this idiot wants it or not. Anyway, I already have butt face in the others. 1 more won't make a difference. 1 less won't make a difference. Let's just let it be locked up at the bottom of the lake." After saying that, Yun Chujio grabbed Di Biming's arm and turned around to leave without any hesitation. Tao Tai panicked immediately. It had been locked up in the dark for so many years. If it did not seize this opportunity, it might not be able to get out in the future. "Master. My dear master. Don't go." Chapter 5880, What's the point of having you? Tao Tai comforted himself. He was in a rush for power. For the sake of freedom, he would first throw away his face. No matter what, he had to first obtain freedom, then find an opportunity to take revenge. The hatred of snatching his wife was irreconcilable. Yun Chujio heard Tao Tai's shout and stopped in her tracks. She turned around to look at Tao Tai and said with a faint smile, "Didn't you say that you are locked at the bottom of the lake and have no way to establish a contract with me?" Tao Tai cursed in his heart a few hundred times for being shameless, perverted, and evil. Only then did he say, "I suddenly thought of an idea. Although my main body is locked at the bottom of the lake, I can use my split soul as a medium to establish a contract. However, I must say that we can only establish an equal contract. Otherwise, I won't give in even if I sit at the bottom of the lake." Yun Chujio nodded and agreed, "Okay, then we will establish an equal contract." Immediately, Tao Tai established an equal contract with Yun Chujio through the Red Claws. The moment the contract was established, huge waves rose up in the misty lake. However, it was only for a moment before it regained its calm, so it did not attract anyone's attention. Tao Tai hurriedly said, "Master, quick, come and save me." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked, "How can I save you?" "The core of the formation is under this stone wall. If you destroy the core, I will be able to regain my freedom," Tao Tai said excitedly. Yun Chujio looked at Tao Tai meaningfully and said, "If I let you out, it will definitely cause a great commotion. At that time, I will also stay in the 10 Directions Academy. So, you stay at the bottom of the lake for a period of time. When I am about to leave the 10 Directions Academy, I will come and save you." "Tao Tai, don't play with it like that. Don't lie to the beast like that." Tao Tai was so angry. This was playing with it. It was once again fooled by her. "You can't do this. Aren't you afraid of retribution? You are heartless. You are not human, you bastard." Tao Tai was so angry that it didn't know how to scold. It was so angry that it almost fainted. Yun Chujio touched her nose. "Dehua, why are you so impatient? It's not that I don't want to save you, I just want you to stay at the bottom of the lake for a few more days. Do you have to be so angry? As for that, I don't want to stay in this damn place for 1 more day. Sob, I beg you, please save me. As long as you save me, I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do," Tao Tai said sobbingly. It had already acknowledged the thief as its master. If it still couldn't obtain freedom, wouldn't it cry to death? Yun Chujio didn't delibor. She was fine with it, but if she implicated the gigolo and couldn't get the qualification to compete in the 100-year grand competition, wouldn't it be a loss? Tao Tai begged for a long time, but when it saw that Yun Chujio still wouldn't let go, it could only gnash its teeth and say, forget it, forget it. Anyway, my body is almost decayed. If you don't want it, then I don't want it. You can get my host's soul out, right? Yun Chujio suddenly had an ominous premonition in her heart. What did you say? What do you mean your body is almost decayed? Tao Tai said with a guilty conscience. Yes. Otherwise, why do you think these demonic beasts would be contaminated by my brutal aura? It's because the array has dissolved my body, and the brutal aura was absorbed by them. You humans are really vicious. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. You already have no body, so what use do I have for you? Chapter 58-81 fell into the pit again. Tao Tai was immediately unhappy when it heard Yun Chujio's words. What are you talking about? The noblest thing is not the body but the soul. How can such a noblest beast soul like mine be useless? If even my split soul is so powerful, my host's soul is naturally even more powerful. Yun Chujio was skeptical of its words. However, since they had already established a contract, she could not ignore it even if it was a scam. Thus, she said unhappily, then how can I save your host's soul? That's easy. We've established the contract now. My host's soul has a connection with your soul consciousness. You only need to smear your blood on the stone wall. It'll teach you a secret technique of the Tao Tai clan. Then my host's soul and my split soul will become one. That way it'll be able to get out of here indirectly, said Tao Tai excitedly. Hey, Shinjio resolutely refused. Smear my blood on the stone wall? How much blood does that need? I won't do it. Tao Tai roared, you've made me so miserable. Why can't I ask you for some blood? Besides, it doesn't need much. I just need to smear the small piece of my claw on the wall with fresh blood. Yun Chujio reluctantly said, all right, then I'll show my kindness. Actually, I really don't want a foodie like you. Not only do you have no ability, but you're also very good at eating. What's the point of having you? Tao Tai. It was not easy for Tao Tai to hold back the anger in his heart. He comforted himself. It was not too late for Tao Tai to take revenge. Let's wait and see. Yun Chujio followed Tao Tai's method and smeared the blood on the spot where the red claw was pressed. Then she used the secret technique that Tao Tai taught her. A moment later, Tao Tai's host soul floated out of the stone wall and merged into the red claw. The red claw immediately changed into Tao Tai's appearance, but only one of the red claws was solid. Tao Tai moved his limbs and said with some disdain, I'm not criticizing you, but you're too useless. It took you so long to materialize one of my claws. Work harder in the future and quickly let me materialize, do you hear me? Yun Chujio looked at him coldly and didn't say anything. Tao Tai continued, although PM temporarily wronged to be your spiritual beast, we have an equal contract, so we have an equal relationship. If you want to order me to do things in the future, you must give me enough spirit stones and dark spirit stones. Otherwise, I don't have time to help you. Tao Tai saw that Yun Chujio didn't say anything and thought that she had acquiesced, so it became more and more smug. I'm different from those three idiots. I'm nobler than them and smarter than them. Don't even think about using the same trick to deal with me. You can't compare to your previous life. Let me tell you, there's nothing in this world that I can't eat. As long as I want to, I can swallow this stupid academy into my stomach. Just as Tao Tai was showing off, a sharp pain came from his spiritual sense. He immediately cried out in pain. The only real claw was twitching in pain. It was as miserable as it could be. Seeing Tao Tai's miserable state, Yun Chujio could not help but feel happy. It seemed that the contract with the host soul was indeed different. Previously she had no way to control that dead claw, now she could take care of De Hua just like how she took care of Buttface and the others. Tao Tai, who was in so much pain, finally realized that she had fallen into a pit again. And it was a pit that she had dug for herself. Chapter 58-82, De Hua, come tell me who is the noblest, who is the smartest, and who is the most powerful? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Tao Tai grimaced in pain and said unwillingly, it's you, it's all you. I'll let you work for me in the future. Do I still need to look at your face? No need. It's only right and proper for me to work for my master, Tao Tai said with a sobbing voice. It was really too damn depressed. It regretted it. If it had known earlier, it would have been better to be locked up at the bottom of the lake. At least no one could bully it. No, it could not give up just like that. It would definitely find a way to take revenge, definitely. Di Biming watched the whole process from the side and did not participate in it. It was only now that he said, "Little Gio, its appearance is too eye-catching. If you let it out, it will bring you trouble." Tao Tai felt Di Biming's indifferent gaze and immediately showed a strong desire to survive. Master, don't worry. Since I'm a spiritual beast, I can change according to your wishes. Just like how you imagined your spiritual beast to be a pig, I later became a pig, but... Before Tao Tai could finish its sentence, its appearance became a cute, red piglet. Yun Chujio clapped her hands in surprise. It's really like that. Now, you can turn into a tiger for me to see. Why don't you change? You can change. Tao Tai looked at her with tears in its eyes and said with difficulty, "But I can only change once. Unless I turn into a real tiger, or else I can only turn into this wretched appearance." Yun Chujio. This fellow angrily beat Tao Tai. "You dumbass. Are you not going to finish your sentence? You must be doing this on purpose, you pig. I'll beat you to the miserable." Tao Tai was beaten to the point that it dissipated instantly. It felt bitter in its heart. Was this because of it? She was clearly too impatient. Moreover, the final victim was it, alright? She had thought that she had escaped the fate of being a pig in this life, but who would have thought that she had become a pig again? Who had she offended? Her life was too miserable. Hei Xingjiu was not satisfied. She released De Hua again and gave it another good scolding and a good beating. While beating it up, the fellow suddenly remembered something. "By the way, why did you disappear during that period of time?" De Hua's eyes flashed and he said in a wrong tone, "Don't you have that Gowei Batsao?" So I rested for a period of time." Yun Chujio asked suspiciously, "Is that so? If I find out that you are lying to me, chimp?" De Hua shrunk his neck and did not say a word. "Oh right, what skills do you have now?" Yun Chujio continued to ask. De Hua. The poor piglet was sent flying hundreds of feet away and almost disappeared. De Hua was so angry. However, she still walked over with her 4 short legs. "I'm saying that I can eat other spiritual beasts, and I can temporarily maintain my physical body to fight. The power will increase by several times." Temporarily maintain my physical body? In order to verify her words, De Hua's entire body immediately turned into a physical body. She was just like a piglet, but it was red. In order to show her ferocity, this fellow even bared his teeth at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio looked at the fierce piglet and felt extremely stifled. Why did she think of the piglet first just now? Even if it is a big pig is also good. Chapter 58-83 Loitering Pig. De Hua did not know what Hei Xingjiu was thinking. She said proudly, "Not only will my physical form greatly increase my power, but I can also speed up my cultivation speed. In the future you should let me out for a walk more often." Yun Chujio felt that these words were somehow familiar. That damned grass often requested to be out for a walk too. These two were restless. The other people raised spiritual beasts while she raised loitering pigs. Yun Chujio thought of another question. "My morning sickness must have something to do with you, right?" De Hua touched its nose guiltily with its small claws. "You also know that I'm used to eating and sleeping when I'm full. When PM full, PLL eat. If I don't sleep enough, I'll naturally be in a bad mood." Yun Chujio felt very stifled and sent it flying with a kick. De Hua let out a choking sound as it fell. Its 4 short legs kicked for a long time before it finally got up. Yun Chujio felt even more stifled. What kind of combat ability could it have with its stupid appearance? De Hua got up and widened its small eyes. It said pitifully, "Well, master, I'm hungry. Do you have anything to eat?" Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and threw a pile of spirit stones to De Hua. De Hua opened its mouth and the pile of spirit stones instantly entered its stomach. Yun Chujio only felt that in the blink of an eye, the pile of spirit stones had disappeared. De Hua said pitifully again, "Master, I'm hungry." Hei Xingjiu resisted the urge to slap it to death and threw another pile of spirit stones to it, but it swallowed them in one gulp. "Master, I'm still hungry," De Hua thought secretly. Although it could not avenge its wife for the time being, at least it could eat her poor humph. It was so smart. Seeing that De Hua had eaten so many spiritual stones in such a short time, Yun Chujio couldn't bear it anymore. "I'm hungry, you should also bear." With De Hua shook its short tail aggrievedly. "Master, even if you don't give me spiritual stones, you can at least give me some food. It's not my fault. I've been locked up for so many years, I'm really hungry." To be honest, although Tao Tai didn't look very likable before, it was now a small one, wagging its short tail. It was exceptionally soft and cute, and Yun Chujio couldn't bear it anymore. Moreover, it didn't want spirit stones, just some food. Wasn't too much. However, Hei Shinjo soon realized how naive her thoughts were. How was it just some food? In just 15 minutes, De Hua had eaten 100 bags of spiritual wheat, 200 bags of spiritual rice, 300 spiritual cabbages, 500 red-crowned eggs, and 10 large basins of steamed buns. Hei Shinjo saw that her stock was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, so she wickedly threw a sack of chili noodles to De Hua. Cough cough, cough cough. So spicy. De Hua choked and coughed repeatedly, her small body shaking like leaves in the wind. Hei Shinjo felt very relieved. She was about to say something when she heard De Hua continue, "Master, you are so considerate. I was just having a bland meal and you brought me seasoning. The spicy food was so satisfying." Hei Shinjo was so angry that she rolled her eyes. She hugged Di Biming's waist and sobbed, "Idol, it's over. I'm going to raise a bottomless pit in the future. I'm going to be a pauper soon." Di Biming's heart ached as he stroked her hair. His cold gaze looked at De Hua, who was snot, tears, and frantically eating. De Hua immediately trembled and stammered, I'm not hungry anymore. I can stop eating for 3 days. Master, don't worry. I'm very easy to raise. If it's not enough, I can even lick my own paws for 2 days. Chapter 5884. Coming out of the valley, De Hua showed a strong desire to survive. After stuttering, she slapped herself with her paw and dissipated. Hei Shinjo was angry, amused, and a little jealous. At this moment, a strong drowsiness came over her. She yawned and said, "This De Hua is really a pig. She wants to sleep after eating." Di Biming wanted to say something, but he saw that Yun Chujio had already fallen asleep in his arms. Di Biming chuckled and sat on the ground to make Yun Chujio's sleeping position more comfortable. He even took out a blanket and covered her. When Yun Chujio woke up the next day, she found that she was lying on Di Biming's lap while Di Biming maintained his meditation position. It was obvious that he had not slept the whole night. She rubbed her eyes and said, "You haven't slept this whole time? Are you stupid? You can let the little perverted dragon be in charge of guarding. Let's sleep together." Di Biming moved his slightly stiff body and said with a faint smile, "Meditation can also relieve fatigue. There's no problem." What Di Biming did not say was that the two of them spent less time together and more time apart. Even looking at her sleeping face was an extravagant hope. He could not bear to sleep. After breakfast, the two of them didn't delay their journey to the entrance of the valley. After all, they still had to look for the yin-yang lichen. When they arrived at the entrance of the valley, Ding Wenru, Nangong Shi, Jiang Hong, and Yin Zhang came forward to welcome them. Although Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi had sustained serious injuries previously, they were only superficial injuries. By now they had almost fully recovered. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang wanted to leave midway, but if Yan Qingqing didn't die and they left just like that, wouldn't they be in trouble? Thus they stayed until now. The two of them looked at Hei Shinjo, who was still alive and kicking. They couldn't help but feel lucky that she didn't leave. Otherwise, this little devil would definitely settle the score later. Yun Chujio looked at the two of them with satisfaction and sent them away. After all, she had too many secrets on her. The fewer people who knew, the better. After Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang left, Yun Chujio summoned Xiaohei. She asked Di Biming for a stalk of yin-yang lichen and let Xiaohei sniff it. Xiaohei nodded its little head and began to search ahead. Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru looked surprised, but they tactfully did not ask. Hei Shinjo approached Ding Wenru and asked with a smile, "Sister Ding, what are you doing?" "Sister Ding, now you can tell me why you and Nangong Shi went to the Red Valley, right? You didn't go there to have a tryst, did you?" Ding Wenru's face immediately turned red. "Bah! What nonsense are you talking about? We just happened to bump into each other. Coincidence? That's quite a coincidence. Ordinary people wouldn't go into the Red Valley," Hei Shinjo teased. Ding Wenru's expression became more and more unnatural, but she still told her what happened. In fact, the matter wasn't too complicated. Previously, because of Nangong Shi's careless words, Ding Wenru hadn't paid any attention to Nangong Shi. In the end, all of this was due to her low self-esteem. After the last epiphany, although her condition was much better, she still felt a little uncomfortable. Therefore, even though she later found out that Nangong Shi had been looking for an opportunity to explain to her, she still didn't pay any attention to him. During a refining class, the lecturer had unintentionally mentioned that there was a kind of blood stone with black patterns in the Red Valley of the Six Harmonies Water Pavilion. When refining certain spirit tools, it could increase the success rate. Everyone else listened and decided to forget about it, but Ding Wenru remembered it in her heart. She was anxious to prove herself, so as soon as she was teleported to the Six Harmonies Water Pavilion, she headed towards the direction of the Red Valley. Anyway, with the escape jade token, there wouldn't be any danger. Chapter 5885. Gathering Yin-Yang lichens. Ding Wenru was on her way to the Red Valley when she coincidentally bumped into Nangong Shi. At first, Ding Wenru didn't tell him that she was going to the Red Valley, but Nangong Shi followed her at a distance. When he saw that she was going to enter the Red Valley, he naturally tried to dissuade her. Ding Wenru was competing with him, so how could she listen? She still insisted on entering the Red Valley. Nangong Shi was worried about her safety, so he followed her into the Red Valley. At first there wasn't any danger, but later on they encountered a few demonic beasts. Unfortunately, they discovered that the escape jade token wasn't useful, so they heard Ding Wenru's cry for help. Although Ding Wenru was picky when she said it, He Xingjiu quickly imagined the whole process and laughed even more mischievously. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were still in the hazy state of the moon and birds. They hadn't broken through the window yet, so their faces were both red. Fortunately, Xiao He had discovered something and diverted their attention. The four of them looked in the direction that Xiao He was pointing at. It was a low bush. If it weren't for Xiao He leading the way, they wouldn't have thought that there was a yin-yang lichen under the bush. He Xingjiu was about to go forward and dig when Ding Wenru quickly stopped her. Qingqing, wait. There will definitely be guarding demonic beasts near the yin-yang lichen. Don't act rashly. Yun Chujio waved her hand nonchalantly. Don't worry. Those demonic beasts belong to my family. They want to attack me, their master. They have already run away. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were dumbfounded. Did Yan Qingqing have a problem with her brain? Why was she spouting nonsense? The demonic beasts in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion belonged to her family? She was their master? What kind of joke was this? Even President Gu didn't dare to say that. These demonic beasts weren't spirit beasts. Each and every one of them was unruly and savage. Who dared to say that they were their master? Ding Wenru wanted to stop Yin Chujio, but she saw that Di Biming didn't have the slightest trace of worry on his face, so she stopped in her tracks. He Xingjiu ran into the bushes and used her pickaxe to dig a few times. She waved at Ding Wenru and the other two. Don't just stand there. Hurry up and help me dig. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi looked at each other. There really wasn't any demonic beast guarding them? Although the yin-yang lichen grew below the surface, it was not too far from the surface. The four of them quickly dug out a yin-yang lichen. He Xingjiu took the yin-yang lichen and looked at it. It was half black and half white. It was quite interesting. The strange grass in her dantian kept acting cute. If it were not for Di Biming, Xiao He would have wanted to eat the yin-yang lichen when he smelled it. He Xingjiu yelled with her spiritual sense, "Eat, eat, eat. All you know is to eat. All of you are making me worry. I want to use the yin-yang lichen to hand in my mission. Forget it." The leaves of the Guai Chao immediately drooped down. The stupid girl was really biased. She had fed the pig so much yesterday. Why was it reluctant to give it up? To think that it had risked its life for her. It was really heartless. He Xingjiu felt that the Guai Chao was feeling wronged. She gritted her teeth and said, "If I find enough, I'll leave a few for you to eat." When the Guai Chao heard this, it immediately acted cutely. It was just short of wagging its long tail. In the next 2 days, Yun Chujio and the other two were extremely smooth. Xiao He was able to find the yin-yang lichen every time and did not miss a single time. What surprised Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru the most was that they had not encountered a single guardian beast. Chapter 5886. Eating Poryu. Sometimes, they would discover the demon beast's nests around the yin-yang lichen. They even touched the dry grass inside, which was still warm. This meant that there were still demon beasts guarding here not long ago, but they had never encountered them. Was it because of their heaven-defying luck, or was it really like what Yan Qingqing said, that the demon beasts in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion were all from her family? Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were puzzled, but they tactfully did not ask any more questions. He Xingjiu had found a lot of yin-yang lichens, so her resentment towards De Hua had lessened a lot. After all, this fellow was still somewhat useful. De Hua was obviously the kind of person who would take advantage of others. Sensing that Yun Chujio was in a good mood, he immediately pleaded, Master, I'm so hungry. Please feed me. Yun Chujio hesitated for a moment before releasing De Hua. After all, she and Ding Wenru had been together day and night, so there were some secrets that could not be hidden. As for Nangongshi, he was not a talkative person. Moreover, he had the relationship with Ding Wenru, so he would not go out and say anything. When Ding Wenru saw the cute De Hua, her eyes almost popped out. This was King Cheng's claw? Ding Wenru felt a huge shock in her heart. King Cheng's spirit beast was actually a pig? And it was a piglet? That red claw looked quite fierce before. How did it turn into a pig's trotter? Nangongshi was also dumbfounded. This was the first time he saw a human spirit beast being a piglet. Could this thing have any combat strength? When he saw the red piglet instantly swallow a pile of spirit stones, he felt that it was most likely an illusion. He heard that no spirit beast could directly swallow spirit stones. After De Hua swallowed a pile of spirit stones, it pitifully said with spiritual sense, "Master, I'm still hungry." Hei Shinjio couldn't bear to part with spirit stones, so she took out a pile of food and gave it to it. However, this time, it was only the corpses of demonic beasts. Even so, Hei Shinjio still felt her heart ache. De Hua looked at Hei Xinjia's pained expression and felt extremely relieved. She deserved it. She deserved it. Her heart ached for you to death. You made me lose my wife, you made me sit at the bottom of the lake, you made me lose my body, and I ate you until you were poor. You ate until you were bankrupt. Ding Wenru and Nangongshi were petrified. They could no longer express their shock in words. De Hua had eaten more than 10 demon beast corpses. When she... Ding Wenru looked at Hei Shinjio, who was gnashing her teeth, and asked, "Qingqing, is this the red claw from before?" Yun Chujio nodded. "That's right, it's that dumbass who only knows how to eat." Ding Wenru's stomach was full of questions, but in the end, it turned into a sentence. "Since it can eat so much, it must be very powerful, right?" Yun Chujio only felt that thousands of arrows pierced through her heart. She clenched her back teeth and squeezed out a sentence. "Powerful my ass. It's just a good for nothing." Ding Wenru tactfully did not ask any more, because no matter who raised such a scammer, their mood would not be good. At this moment, a group of people walked over from afar. Their leaders were Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianxiao. Jian Zhuyu looked at Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru beside her and felt very disappointed. They actually did not die? When she saw Di Baiming and Nangongshi beside her, her mood became even worse. Originally, she wanted to use this trial to kill that bitch Yan Qingqing, but now that Beiyu and Nangongshi were together with her, it was not easy to kill them. Chapter 5887. You're really popular. Compared to Jian Ziyu's calm expression, Xiao Lianqiu's expression was much more obvious. Her face was full of disappointment. Didn't Jian Zhiyu go to the Red Valley with that bitch Yan Qingqing? There was something wrong with her escaped jade token. How could she not die? It must be Beiyu who saved her. How hateful. She glared at Yun Chujio fiercely. Her gaze was as if she wanted to cut Yun Chujio into 1,000 pieces. At this moment, Jian Zhiyu said softly, "The four of you, please join us. Our strength is not bad. Even if we encounter a powerful guardian demonic beast, we can still fight. We can find more yin-yang lichen." Although she said this to Yun Chujio and the other three, her eyes were fixed on Di Baiming. Her face showed a perfect shyness. Hei Shinjio curled her lips. "Thank you for your kindness, but we are not interested." Hei Shinjio emphasized the word kindness. Don't think that she did not know what the White Lotus was planning. It was nothing more than an opportunity to trick her and steal her gigolo. In her dreams, if she did not have so many people behind her, she would have sent her and Jian Shenmu to keep her company. Jian Zhuyu ignored Yun Chujio and continued to stare at Di Baiming. It was obvious that he was waiting for his reply. Di Baiming said calmly, "I will listen to Qingqing. I will do as she says." Jian Ziyu's expression froze. Xiao Lianxiao could not take it anymore. "Beiyu, you have to think carefully. If you cannot obtain enough yin-yang lichens, you will lose the chance to compete in the 100-year competition. This is the chance that many people dream of. Are you going to give it up because of this stupid Yan Qingqing?" Jian Zhiyu chimed in, "Yes, Beiyu. The 100-year competition not only represents the glory of the academy, but if you are lucky, there will be great opportunities. You have to think it through." Hei Shinjo giggled and said, "You don't have to worry about that. Because Brother Baiyu's greatest opportunity is to meet me. Brother Beiyu, don't you think so?" "Yes, meeting you is my greatest opportunity. It's a blessing given to me by the heavens." Di Baiming looked at Yun Chujio and said word by word. Hei Shinjio originally said all this to anger Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu. She did not expect Di Biming to respond to her in such a serious manner. Her thick-skinned face immediately turned red. Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianxiao were so angry that they were half dead. They originally wanted to sow discord between them, but now it had become an opportunity for them to show off their love. It was really hateful. Xiao Lianxiao was so angry that her eyes were red. Beiyu, you will regret it. You will lose the opportunity of the 100-year competition because of tea. You will regret it sooner or later. Although Jian Ziyu's reaction was not as intense as hers, her tone of regret could not be more obvious. Beiyu, since you have already decided, I can't say anything. If you regret it, come find us at any time. Di Biming did not say anything. He Xingjiu waved her claws. Goodbye. Xiao Lianxiao glared at her and left angrily. Jian Zhuyu nodded at Di Biming and led the others to chase after him. Ding Wenru curled her lips, thinking if these idiots knew that Qingqing had found a lot of yin-yang lichens, would they die of anger? He Xingjiu said sourly, Brother Beiyu, you are really popular. Di Biming could not help but laugh. He said casually, in my eyes, you are the only woman in the world. The others are nothing but rubble in my eyes. Chapter 5888 ended. He Xingjia's little heart immediately thumped non-stop. Oh my, this gigolo is getting more and more flirtatious. In order to hide her shyness, this guy raised his voice and said, well, let's hurry up and find the yin-yang lichen. Otherwise, we really won't be able to go to the 100-year competition. Di Biming knew that she was embarrassed. He chuckled, making He Xingjia's little face even redder. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi, who were hit by the dog food, looked at each other. Their hearts were filled with ripples. In the remaining 3 days, the 4 of them were still very successful. They had collected an astonishing number of yin-yang lichens. When Yun Chuzhou wanted to distribute the yin-yang lichens, Ding Wenru said, my cultivation is too low. Even if I go to the 100-year competition, I will be a burden to the academy. So Qingqing, just give me a few. You don't have to give me so many. Yun Chuzhou disagreed. It's because your cultivation is low that you should go to the 100-year competition. If you cultivate step by step, when will you catch up with the others' cultivation? You heard it before. There may be opportunities in the 100-year competition. Maybe you will be lucky and your cultivation will soar. Ding Wenru was still hesitant. What you said makes sense, but I'm afraid of dragging everyone down. Nangong Shi mustered up his courage and said, don't worry. I'll protect you. Ding Wenru's face immediately turned red. Although she still looked like a bear at this moment, she looked a little shy like a little girl. He Xingjiu laughed evilly. They began to distribute the yin-yang lichen. In the most fair and not greedy. Come, Brother Beiyu, Sister Ding, Nangong Shi, me, Brother Beiyu, Sister Ding, Nangong Shi, Nangong Shi, Nangong Shi, and me, Ding Wenru. Nangong Shi. What happened to being fair and not greedy? However, the 2 of them did not have any objections. If it were not for Yan Qingcheng's Xiao He and her strange good luck, they would not have been able to gather so many yin-yang lichens. Moreover, if it were not for her and Beiyu, they might have already died in the Red Valley. When the trial ended, everyone was teleported out of the 6 Directions Waterside Pavilion. President Gu and the others had already been waiting here for a long time. The 6 Directions Waterside Pavilion was very dangerous, and they were very worried about the students' condition. After counting the number of people, they found that only a dozen students had died, and they couldn't help but feel very lucky. Actually, the reason why so few people had died was because of He Xingjiu. The demonic beasts in the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion sensed the aura of. If it weren't for the blind students who provoked them, they wouldn't have taken the initiative to attack. President Gu immediately ordered the relevant lecturers to start counting the number of yin-yang lichens, and the scene immediately became lively. Yun Chuzhou had previously instructed Ding Wenru and the others not to hand in the yin-yang lichens first, and to look at everyone's situation first. If the others had only collected a small amount, there was no need for them to hand in so many yin-yang lichens. Firstly, it was too eye-catching, and secondly, it would be a waste. Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianxiao did not know what Yun Chuzhou and the others were planning. Seeing that they had not handed in their mission, they immediately felt relieved. This time, Beiyu had lost the opportunity to participate in the 100-year competition. He would definitely vent his anger on Yan Qingqing. Sooner or later they would have to break up. Xiao Lianxiao arrogantly walked up to Yun Chuzhou. Yan Qingqing, why haven't you handed in your mission yet? Could it be that you and Ding Wenru are dragging them down, causing Beiyu and Nangong Shi to be unable to enter the top 50? Chapter 5889, Top 4 Ding Wenru was just about to retort when He Xingjiu shot her a look. Then she sighed and shook her head, remaining silent. Ding Wenru immediately understood He Xingjiu's plan and looked dejected. Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu looked at each other. It seemed that they were right. Beiyu and the others definitely did not find a few lichens. They deserved. Xiao Lianxiao pouted and said, Yan Qingqing, it's fine that you're a good-for-nothing, but now you've made Beiyu lose the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition. You're really shameless. If you still have self-awareness, don't bother Beiyu in the future. Jian Zhuyu sighed and said, the opportunity to participate in the 100-year grand competition is very rare. It's a pity for Beiyu and Nangongshi this time. Ding Wenru looked at the two of them who were singing along and couldn't help but laugh in her heart. How proud they were now. They would be slapped in the face in a while. After a while, the students handed in their missions one after another. Xiao Lianxiao urged them with ill intentions. Yan Qingqing, why aren't you guys handing in your missions? Now you know how embarrassing it is to collect so little? Who asked you guys not to join us before? I'm ranked in the top 20 and have firmly obtained the qualification to participate in the 100-year competition. Yun Chuzhou looked at her meaningfully and then called Ding Wenru and the others to hand in the mission. Soon, 4 names appeared on the bulletin board and replaced the original top 4. First place, Yan Qingqing. Second place, Beiyu. Third place, Nangongshi. Fourth place, Ding Wenru. Everyone immediately exploded. Were they seeing things? Beiyu and Nangongshi were fine, but Yan Qingqing was actually ranked first? Ding Wenru was ranked fourth? This was simply impossible. Not to mention the others, even President Gu rubbed his eyes. That Yan Qingqing not only entered the top 50, but she was also ranked first. How was this possible? However, after he went to the lecturer in charge to confirm it, he realized that it was actually true. Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Ziyu's expressions were very interesting. At first, they were in disbelief, then they were flustered and exasperated. Since this Yan Qingqing had collected so many yin-yang lichens, why didn't she mention it before? She was deliberately toying with them. It was really detestable. Xiao Lianxiao said loudly, there must be something wrong here. Beiyu and Nangongshi must have given the yin-yang lichens they found to Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru. The two of them are cheating. They used spirit stones to buy flags during the lower house assessment. Now they are using their bodies to exchange for yin-yang lichens. How shameless. Everyone immediately burr. It must be so. Otherwise, how could the two of them have collected so many yin-yang lichens? Seeing this, Xiao Lianxiao could not help but feel relieved. Just as she was feeling proud, a chill ran down her neck. Which fucking eye did you see Ding Wenru and I use our bodies to exchange for the yin-yang lichens? Was it the left eye or the right eye? Since you're so blind it's useless to keep it. How about I dig it out for you? It turned out that, without knowing when, Yun Chuzhou had already arrived behind Xiao Lianxiao and placed the dagger on her neck. Everyone was stunned by this unexpected turn of events. This Yan Qingqing's courage was too great. One had to know that President Gu and the other chancellors were all present. She actually dared to publicly threaten people with a dagger. Did she want to be expelled? President Gu immediately snorted, Yan Qingqing, stop. Yun Chuzhou sneered, President, Ding Wenru and I are the only 2 students of the prehistoric branch. We represent the face of the prehistoric branch. Right now, our face is being trampled on by the Xiao Lianxiao. If I let her go just like that, I won't have the face to see my master. Don't you agree? Chapter 58-90 was easy to talk to when President Gu heard the word master. His heart skipped a beat. He had actually forgotten about this matter. He had previously promised Yan Qingqing that as long as she obtained the qualifications for the 100-year grand competition, he would let her meet the 2 people at the back of the mountain. Heaven and earth, he had only casually found an excuse to make her give up. Who would have thought that not only did she enter the top 50, but she had also obtained the first place? It was really killing me. He wanted to hide this matter, but it was too late. He didn't want those 2 to know that there were 2 more useless students in their muddle-headed state. Xiao Lianxiao originally thought that once President Gu stopped her, Yun Chuzhou would let her go. Who would have thought that President Gu would actually be in a daze now? She looked at Vice President Xiao for help. Second uncle, save me? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug thought, save you? Save my ass. It would be better if you were dead. However, in order to maintain its image, it said to Yun Chuzhou with a cold face, Yan Qingqing, you are really bold and reckless. Even if Lianxiao spoke without restraint and slandered you, even if she really should be punished, you shouldn't use violence to solve the problem. Why don't you quickly let her go? Xiao Yinxiao smacked her lips. Why did it feel like her second uncle was not helping? Yun Chujio curled her lips and put away the dagger. She said darkly, "If I hear your nonsense again, I will cut off your tongue." Xiao Yinxiao was angry and hateful. She reached out her hand to hit Yun Chujio, but she heard Director Xiaofu shout angrily, "Enough! You've been acting more and more unruly recently. Hurry up and apologize to Yan Qingqing." Xiao Yinxiao was so angry that she was dumbfounded. In the past, her second uncle would always stand on her side and speak up for her, but recently, why did he speak up for this bitch Yan Qingqing again and again? She wanted to refute, but when she saw Director Xiaofu's gloomy face, she could only grit her teeth and say to Yun Chujio with red eyes, "I'm sorry." Yun Chujio gave a brilliant smile. It's okay. I've always been easy to talk to. In the future we'll still be good classmates." Everyone? Easy to talk to. Who was the one who was shouting about digging out his eyes and cutting out his tongue just now? This face changing was even faster than flipping a book. Xiao Yinxiao suppressed her hatred. With reddened eyes, she bit her lips and retreated to the side. At this time, President Gu had recovered from his shock. He glanced at the crowd and said, "According to the agreement, the top 50 students will be qualified to participate in the 100-year competition. Of course, considering the actual situation, if a student feels that it is not suitable to participate in the 100-year competition, he can come to me later to explain the situation and give up the qualification. The academy will give him some compensation." When President Gu said this, he looked at Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru. His purpose was self-evident. Ding Wenru lowered her head uncomfortably, but He Xinjiu winked at President Gu with a smile. President Gu felt relieved. It seemed that Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru would give up their qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition, so that he would not have to be scolded by those two. However, he returned to his own courtyard and waited. He waited for 3 days, but Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru still didn't show up. Instead, he received a surprise. "President, something has happened." A guard rushed in to report. President Gu frowned. "What happened? Why are you making a fuss?" The guard said with a panicked expression, "The 3 courtyards of the alchemy division have disappeared into thin air. Not only have those houses disappeared, even the flowers and trees on the ground have disappeared." Chapter 5891. The courtyard that disappeared into thin air. President Gu felt that he had most likely misheard. "What did you say? Say it again." "The 3 courtyards of the alchemy division all disappeared overnight," the guard repeated. President Gu slammed the table. "Nonsense. How is this possible? Even if someone used a jade talisman to blow up those courtyards, there should still be ruins." "President, everything I said is true. I saw it with my own eyes. If you don't believe me, you can go and take a look at the scene." At this moment, President Gu's shocked and angry voice came from the alchemy division's jade token. "President, 3 courtyards have disappeared from our alchemy division. Please come and take a look." Only then did President Gu believe that the guards weren't exaggerating. He hurried to the alchemy division. At this moment, many lecturers and students had gathered at the scene of the incident. The chancellors and vice-chancellors of the 6 major divisions were all present. Their faces were filled with shock. When the crowd saw President Gu, they spontaneously made a path for him. President Gu walked to the front and took a look. He couldn't help but be stunned as well. He saw that there was nothing in the vast area in front of him. It was so clean. Not to mention the houses, there wasn't even a single weed. It was as if this place was originally an empty space and nothing had ever existed. However, there were clearly 3 courtyards of the alchemy division here. There were even many tall trees. How did it become like this overnight? President Gu looked at the 6 chancellors. "What exactly is going on? Did you find anything?" "President, I checked just now. There is no sign of the use of the jade talisman seal here," said President Zhao of the Talisman Seal Division. "There is also no sign of the use of the array formation." "What a ghost," added President Sun of the Array Formation Division. President Wu of the Artifact Refining Division shook his head and said, "It is not caused by a spiritual artifact, because there is no trace of the use of the spiritual artifact here. It's even more impossible that it was caused by a cultivator's spirit energy, because if it was damaged by spirit energy, the scene couldn't have been so clean." President Zhou of the Spirit Energy Department frowned and said. President Li of the Beast Taming Department spread out his hands. "This is even more impossible that it was done by a demon beast. Let's not talk about the fact that such a large demon beast wouldn't be able to break in without being discovered. The main thing is that even if the demon beast could eat all the plants and trees, it wouldn't eat the house. President Gus' expression was cold. It was not spirit energy, not demon. Last night, no one heard any abnormal sounds? No matter how these 5 courtyards disappeared, they could not have gone without a sound, right? President Ren of the alchemy faculty sighed. President, these 3 courtyards and some nearby courtyards are all student dormitories. Originally, there were people living there. However, these 2 days happened to be when the 7-leaf cedar grass matured. The students were arranged to go to the 3 Talents Waterside Pavilion to pick the 7-leaf cedar grass. At this moment, Jian Zhiyu walked out of the crowd and said, President, fellow chancellors, although no one in the alchemy division knows what happened, Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru might know something. President Gu and the 6 chancellors were stunned when they heard Jian Zhiyu's words. Only then did they realize that the 5 missing courtyards were close to the primeval division, but the primeval division was safe and sound. President Gu was about to send someone to bring Yun Chujiu and Ding Wenru over, but he heard someone yawn and say, President, although we are close, we didn't hear anything. But we were woken up by the noise this morning. Chapter 5892 was punished. The person who spoke was the sleepy Yun Chujiu. She continued, However, I do have a guess, but I don't dare to say it out loud. Everyone's gaze immediately fell on her. President Gu asked anxiously, What guess? Just say it. Yun Chujiu yawned again. Then let's make it clear in advance. If I say it, you can't punish me. President Gu urged impatiently, Just say it. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. All right then, I'll say it. As everyone knows, these courtyards belong to our prehistoric branch, but they were occupied by the alchemy branch. Now this situation is obviously retribution. Everyone. The people from the alchemy branch nearly vomited blood. This Yan Qingqing was indeed incapable of spitting out ivory from a dog's mouth. It was pure nonsense. The alchemy division's principal Ren's expression was very ugly. Nonsense. Yan Qingqing, if you continue to mislead the crowd, be careful of the rules of the division. Yun Chujiu spread her hands innocently and said with grievance, See, I already said that I wouldn't say it, yet you want me to say it. If I say it, you will blame me again. It's really hard to be a good person. Besides, if we didn't suffer retribution, why did nothing happen to our primal division? Only your alchemy division suffered? Principal Ren subconsciously retorted, According to what you said, the Talisman Seal division should have suffered some losses too. Why is there nothing happening to the Talisman Seal division? Principal Zhao of the Talisman Seal division. He cursed in his heart. It's fine to say that it's your alchemy division's matter, but why is it related to our Talisman Seal division? At this moment, someone hurriedly squeezed into the crowd and said to Principal Zhao, Chancellor, this is bad. 2 of our Talisman division's courtyards have just disappeared into thin air. The first thought that flashed through Principal Zhao's mind was that Ren jinx. Everyone rushed to the Talisman division and found that the 2 courtyards near the prehistoric division had indeed become empty space, just like the alchemy division's situation. These 2 courtyards were also the students' dormitories, but everyone went to the alchemy division to watch the fun. When the accident happened, there was no one in the courtyard, but the handyman who was responsible for cleaning found out about it. This time, everyone's expression became a little fearful. Could it be that they had really found their retribution? If not, why did the alchemy division and talisman division suffer, but the prehistoric division in the middle was safe and sound? If it wasn't for Yun Chujiu and Ding Wenru being here all the time, some people would have suspected that the 2 of them were the ones who did this. President Gus' expression turned cold. At the very least, he would have returned the courtyard to the prehistoric division. However, this matter was clearly not that simple. The other party was able to make the courtyard disappear without a sound. If he wanted to harm someone, wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand? He then thought of the shadow guard who had been replaced. Although he had caught the imposter, he had not been able to get anything out of him. Could it be that these 2 things were done by the same force? Thinking of this, cold sweat broke out on President Gus' head. However, as the president of the academy, he naturally could not lose his composure. He calmed his emotions and said, Everyone go back and focus on your lessons. The academy will find out the clues about this matter. The results of the investigation will be announced soon. The students then dispersed, but they were all feeling uneasy. This matter was too strange and they were really uneasy. Chapter 5893 Could it be Tao Tai? President Gu hurried to the back of the mountain. After using his identity jade token to open a barrier, 2 cave abodes appeared on the cliff that was originally no different from other places. He steadied his mind and said respectfully, "Seniors, this junior has something to report." Almost as soon as he finished speaking, he heard a vigorous roar coming from one of the cave abodes. "Didn't I tell you not to disturb our closed-door cultivation for no reason? It's not the time of the 100-year competition yet. What are you doing here?" As he spoke, the short elder walked out of his cave, and the tall elder walked out of another cave. President Gu smiled bitterly in his heart. If it was not a serious matter, did he think that he would be willing to be scolded? Of course he did not dare to say this out loud. He said respectfully, "Seniors, something really strange happened in the academy. That's why I rashly came to disturb your seclusion." The short elder curled his lips. "You're making a fuss. What happened? Did the sky collapse or did the earth collapse?" President Gu. He told the whole story and even took out a shadow stone. He said, "The shadow stone recorded the situation at the scene. Please take a look." The expressions of the tall old man and the short old man changed. They both looked at the scene in the shadow stone. Seeing the empty ground, they looked at each other and thought of a possibility at the same time. Could it be Tao Tai? The short old man cried out in surprise. The tall old man said solemnly, "Wherever Tao Tai goes, nothing is left." It is indeed in line with Tao Tai's style of doing things. However, according to records, although Tao Tai ate everything, it liked to eat meat other than spirit stones. Why did it swallow several courtyards for no reason? Perhaps it is taking revenge on our 10 Directions Academy. After all, we have suppressed it for so many years, President Gu interrupted weakly. What do you know? If it wants to take revenge on our academy, wouldn't it just swallow you up? There is no need to swallow a few lousy courtyards, the short old man said snappily. President Gu was scolded so much that he shrunk his neck and shut his mouth, feeling wronged. The tall old man said in a low voice, "This matter might not be Tao Tai's doing. Let's go and take a look at the seal first." After a round of inspection, the two found that although the seal was loosened, it was not broken. It seemed that they had guessed wrong. This matter was not Tao Tai's doing. Then what happened to those courtyards? How did they disappear? The tall old man thought for a while and said, "Maybe there was a formation under those courtyards. Someone accidentally triggered it." Those courtyards belong to our prehistoric branch. We didn't find anything unusual before. Since the academy was able to seal Tao Tai back then, it's natural that they have a deep heritage. It's not surprising that we don't know some things, the tall elder said. Although the short elder still had doubts, he nodded. Then he remembered something and said, Little Gu, these courtyards are obviously the courtyards of the prehistoric branch. Why did you say something about alchemy branch and talisman branch?" President Gus' head buzzed. He had blurted out in a moment of panic. What should he do? He wanted to lie, but thinking about the consequences of being exposed, he might as well tell the truth. After all, this pot belonged to the previous president and had nothing to do with him. Chapter 5894. Beating a pig. Thus, President Gu said dryly, "Seniors, the Primal Chaos branch has been unable to recruit students, so the courtyard has been abandoned. The previous president lent some of the Primal Chaos branch's territory to the Alchemy branch and the Talisman Seal branch for the time being. This is also a reasonable use of the Academy's resources." The short elder's expression was not very good. Just as he was about to scold them, the tall elder sighed and said, forget it. It has been a few hundred years and we have yet to recruit any students. Anyway, we have nothing to do, so there's no harm in letting the other branches borrow it." The short old man snorted coldly. "It's too easy for them. When we recruit students, we will definitely make them return the principal and interest back." President Gu silently swallowed his saliva. This person and that Yan Qingqing really had the same lineage. This bandit's thoughts were exactly the same. Thinking of Yan Qingqing, President Gu felt his head ache even more. Should he tell these two that the Primeval Academy had already recruited 2 students? That Yan Qingqing was clearly determined to go to the 100-year grand competition. When the time came, she would definitely be exposed. Why not confess and be lenient? Just as President Gu was about to tell them everything, he heard the short elder say, "Sooner or later we will recruit talented students. At that time we will make those branches feel inferior. Our prehistoric branch has always preferred the lack to the lack. It doesn't matter even if we wait for a few hundred years." President Gu silently swallowed the words that he wanted to say. because he felt that Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru could not be associated with being talented. If he said it out loud, he would definitely be scolded. It was better to think of a way to prevent them from participating in the 100-year grand competition. Even if he wanted them to participate, he had to make them give up on the idea of meeting these two. On the other side, one of the only two students of the primeval institution, He Xinjiu, was beating a pig. You dumbass. You put the disaster on the ground and didn't provoke the disaster in the sky. Do you want to die? Am I hungry or thirsty? How dare you shamelessly swallow my courtyard? Eat, eat, eat. You only know how to eat after one day. Why don't you go to heaven? The red piglet lay on the ground, feeling wronged. It allowed Yun Chuzhou to hit it with a rolling pin, not daring to retaliate. This fellow was very proud in his heart. He deserved it. It would be better if he angered you to death. It was already good enough that it did not swallow you. Last night, after she fed De Hua a few demon beast carcasses, it was still clamoring for food. He Xinjiu ignored it, thinking that it would dissipate in a moment. Who would have thought that she would hear the clamor of the alchemy division next door in the morning that 3 courtyards had disappeared into thin air? She immediately thought of a possibility. De Hua, did you do it? Master, this is called killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I can eat my fill and help you take revenge, De Hua said smugly. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that she almost vomited blood. This idiot was simply courting death by playing tricks. She did not have the time to teach it a lesson and tried to think of a way to remedy it. In the end, she really had no choice but to let it secretly swallow the 2 courtyards of the Talisman Seal division. In this way she could use the gimmick of retribution to divert her attention. Moreover, the 2 courtyards were too close to her, so it was not convenient for her to tear them down. After beating De Hua up a few times, Yun Chuzhou finally calmed down slightly and said coldly, I don't care what you are planning. Now you and I are in the same boat. If something happens to me, you can forget about materializing in your life. Chapter 5895. Don't participate in the 100 Years Grand Competition anymore, De Hua said pitifully. I don't have any ideas. I'm just too hungry. Moreover, those bricks and tiles aren't delicious. I swallowed them reluctantly. Yun Chuzhou narrowed her eyes. Reluctantly? Aren't you taking revenge on me? De Hua's small eyes flashed. Of course not. You're my master now. The past is written off. Why would I take revenge on you? Yun Chuzhou looked at it deeply. It better not be. Otherwise, I will make you a single pig for the rest of your life. De Hua could not help but tremble. In his heart he hated this wretched girl. She was too vicious. We'll see. Yun Chuzhou kicked De Hua away. She held her chin and pondered on the various possibilities and countermeasures for the development of the matter. Just as she was thinking about it, President Gu summoned her over. This guy suddenly felt uneasy. Could it be that President Gu had already guessed what happened to Tao Tai? No, even if he had guessed that it was Tao Tai's doing, he would not have guessed that she had contracted Tao Tai. After thinking about it, this guy felt a little more at ease. He followed the guards to President Gus' study. President Gus' expression did not look too good. However, it was also true that he was troubled by one thing after another. It would be strange if he was in a good mood. Yan Qingqing, tell me the truth. During the trial of the 6 Harmonies Waterside Pavilion, how did you collect so many yin-yang lichens? Yun Chuzhou heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. She thought that it was because of the disappearance of the courtyard. As long as it was not about this matter, it would be fine. She blinked her eyes. I'm so lucky. The yin-yang lichens that other people have encountered are all one flower after another. What I have encountered are all piles and piles of them. Other people can't find them no matter how hard they search. I can just dig a hole and find a few of them. Don't you think it's infuriating? President Gu looked at her smug look and slammed the table angrily. Tell the truth. Yun Chuzhou spread her hands innocently. President, what I said is true. If I lie, I will be struck to death by lightning. President Gu did not believe it at first, but seeing Yun Chuzhou make such a solemn vow, he believed her a little. He was puzzled. Was it really good luck? Then he thought about how Yun Chuzhou caught a corpse when she was fishing. Maybe she was really lucky. Thinking of this, he softened his tone. I see. It seems that you are really blessed. However, the result of the 100-year competition is related to the honor of the Academy, and it is also quite dangerous. You and Ding Wenru should not participate. Don't worry, the Academy will give you some material compensation and won't mistreat you. President Gu knew th. As long as he could convince her, Ding Wenru would be easy to deal with. Yun Chuzhou bared her little white teeth. President, what you said makes sense. I'll listen to you. President Gu thought that he would have to spend some time to convince her, but he did not expect Yun Chujio to agree so readily. Immediately, a smile appeared on his face. He was about to speak, but he heard Yun Chujio continue, "Originally, I didn't want to participate in the 100-year competition. I just wanted to meet my two amiable and respectable masters. You don't have to give us any material rewards. Just let us go and meet our masters." President Gu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He was beating around the bush just to stop her from meeting those two, alright? If he let her go and meet them, why did he have to do such a thing? President Gu coughed dryly. "To tell you the truth, the two seniors have been in closed-door cultivation and will not participate in the 100-year competition. If you want to meet them, you can find another opportunity in the future." Yun Chujio looked at President Gu. "President Gu, do you know that if you lie, you will be struck by lightning?" Chapter 58-96 Agreed. Hong Long. A bolt of purple lightning struck the study room. Fortunately, the study room was still relatively sturdy. Even though the window lattice had been struck so loudly, it didn't pose much of a problem. However, President Gu was greatly frightened and immediately stood up. He hurriedly walked out of the room and saw that there were no clouds in the sky. It could be seen that the heavenly lightning had suddenly struck. Could it be that it was really because he had lied just now? It shouldn't be. He had lied a lot in the past. Why was he struck today? Could it be because he had lied too much? Just as President Gu was thinking, Yun Chujio's voice came from behind him. "Eh? I was just casually saying. There really was a heavenly thunder? President, could it be that you were lying to me just now?" President Gu glared at her and returned to the study room. "President," PM puzzled. "Why don't you want me to meet my master and the others? The two of them will definitely praise you when they see a good disciple like me, who is hard to find even with a lantern in hand." President Gu was also quite frightened by the heavenly lightning, so he didn't beat around the bush and said, "Since you've said so much, then I'll tell you the truth. You and Ding Wenru entered the primal institution by accident. With your talent, you won't be able to catch their eyes. Once they find out that the primal institution has accepted students like you, they will be furious. At that time, you and Ding Wenru might be expelled directly. PM doing this for your own good. So, don't mention this matter again in the future. You don't have to go to the 100-year competition anymore. You should focus on your cultivation." Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. For their own good? Perhaps she was afraid of being implicated? She blinked her eyes. Principle, as the saying goes, man makes things happen. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Furthermore, even if you hide this matter, it's hard to guarantee that the day will come when you will be exposed. Which do you think is the greater crime, deception or negligence? Which one will make the two of them angrier? President Gu, I also know that you are in a difficult position, and I know that you are doing this for my own good. How about this? I won't make things difficult for you. If I am able to enter the top 10 of the overall score in the 100-year grand competition, you can introduce me to my master and the others. If I am unable to do so, I will never mention this matter again. What do you think? President Gu pondered for a long time. This little girl was very difficult to deal with. If he did not agree to her, she might cause some trouble again. Moreover, based on her cultivation, it was impossible for her to enter the top 10 of. Even if it were to rain red rain, she would really be in the top 10. With this result, even if the two of them weren't satisfied, they wouldn't be too angry. After weighing the pros and cons, President Gu nodded. Alright, I agree to it. However, this matter cannot be mentioned to anyone else. Otherwise, HMP. Yun Chujio immediately agreed and cursed in her heart. Little Gu, just you wait. After saying this, President Gu changed the topic. You really didn't notice anything unusual about the alchemy division last night? No, if it wasn't for the commotion at the alchemy division this morning, I wouldn't have woken up so early. President Gu, I think they must have found their retribution. It's not so easy to take advantage of our primeval faculty. Seeing that she was getting more and more unreasonable, President Gu waved his hand repeatedly. Alright, you can go back now. Prepare for the 100-year competition well and don't embarrass our 10 Directions Academy. Chapter 58-97. Grievance. After Yun Chujio left, President Gu kept rubbing his temples. He felt a headache coming on. If the Divine Enlightenment Academy saw that the 10 Directions Academy had sent 2 trash to participate in the 100-year competition, they would definitely laugh their heads off. They had wasted 2 spots for nothing, yet they couldn't do anything to them. It was really grievance. He could have dealt with the 2 students with lightning-fast methods, but at the very least, Yan Qingqing had discovered the shadow guards who had swapped out their spots and had rendered meritorious service. He could not bear to really deal with her ruthlessly. Moreover, the 2 people at the back of the mountain were grumpy. If one day they found out about this matter, it was hard to guarantee that they would blame him for their spasms. Therefore he could only take one step at a time. Putting this matter aside, was the disappearance of the courtyard really due to the array formation? It was not necessarily so. President Gu felt that things had not been going well recently. It seemed that the upper house had not stopped since Yan Qingqing entered the school. It was really troublesome. On the other side, He Xingjiu left the study and took a deep breath. It seemed that the disturbance caused by De Hua had temporarily subsided. 2 days later, the academy posted an announcement regarding the disappearance of the courtyards. The gist of the announcement was that after careful inspection, it was found that there was a tactical array under the 5 missing courtyards. After the tactical array was accidentally triggered, the 5 courtyards disappeared. In fact, they did not disappear. They were just transported to a secret realm of the academy and were not damaged. After checking, there was nothing unusual in the other places of the academy. Everyone could rest assured. In order to verify these words, some of the things in the missing courtyard were also displayed. The students were skeptical. Didn't Dean Sun of the Array Division say that there were no traces of the array? Why was there another one now? However, if it was an ancient array, it was not surprising that Dean Sun did not notice it at the beginning. In addition, the items on display had been verified by the students who had stayed in the academy previously, so the remaining suspicions of the crowd had dissipated. However, no one dared to step into the empty space left by the Alchemy Division and the Talisman Division. It would not be good if they were accidentally transported to other places. Although Ding Wenru had not personally seen De Hua swallow those courtyards, she had more or less guessed it. She asked in puzzlement, "Qingqing, where did you say the items on display came from?" "Yinchu. You can find similar things easily. But those students have admitted it themselves. If it's not their things, how could they not question it?" Ding Wenru was still very puzzled. There are so many capable people in the academy. It's very easy to do this. For example, the illusion array and the pills can naturally make those students believe the lies that they weave, Yun Chujio said lightly. Ding Wenru was stunned at first and then said worriedly, "Qingqing, President Gu and the others obviously don't want us to participate in the 100-year competition. We're going against them like this. They won't use these methods on us, right?" Yun Chujio glanced at her and said faintly, "I'm not those idiots. What can these methods do to me?" Ding Wenru, in the blink of an eye, it was the day of the 100-year competition. The 100-year competition was a grand event that only happened once every 100 years, so President Gu personally led the team. Director Ren of the Alchemy Division, Director Zhao of the Talisman Division, and Director Li of the Beastmaster Division were accompanying them. The other 3 chancellors stayed in the academy to keep watch, but they also sent their vice-chancellors. Vice-Chancellor Xiao was also among them. Chapter 5898 City of Miracles on the way, President Gu specially mobilized. All of you are the best of the academy, the elite of the academy. Your results represent the academy's honor and disgrace. So I hope you will do your best this time to add glory to the academy. The students suddenly became excited and expressed their determination to bring glory to the academy. Of course, many people also cast a disdainful look at Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru. Others were outstanding and elite, but these 2 were trash. They were even adding glory to the academy. It was already good enough that these 2 did not make things dark for the academy and did not drag them down. No one knew what President Gu was thinking. He actually allowed these 2 trash to participate in the 100-year competition together. Was this not a joke? Yun Chujio didn't care about the gazes of these people at all, and her expression didn't change at all. Although Ding Wenru was a little uncomfortable, she was still a thick-skinned person, so she didn't have much of a reaction. When the crowd saw that the 2 of them were like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water, they became even more disdainful. However, they were only limited to verbal attacks, so they didn't dare to do anything. 10 days later, the crowd arrived at Miracle City, where the 100-year competition was taking place. Although the Union of 10,000 Cities controlled many cities, there were also a few cities that did not join the Union of 10,000 Cities. Miracle City was one of them. Miracle City was backed by the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy, so the Union of 10,000 Cities could not forcefully enter their sphere of influence. Therefore, in Miracle City, the various forces were not afraid of any forces doing anything. The influence of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy was huge. Although it was a competition between the two academies, it still attracted a lot of people. The Divine Devil Hall, the 10,000 Buddha Sacred Hall, the Iron Blood Alliance, and the Alliance of 10,000 Cities also sent people of high status. Just as the group of people from the 10 Directions Academy arrived outside Miracle City, City Lord Murong of Miracle City was already waiting with his subordinates. City Lord Murong knew very well that Miracle City was where it was today because it had the support of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Inspiration Academy. Naturally, he did not dare to neglect them. After a round of small talk, the group followed City Lord Murong into Miracle City. Once they entered Miracle City, the first impression they gave off was that it was bustling. The streets were bustling with people and the shops were also packed with people. There were also many small shops and vendors on the street, trying their best to attract customers. Yun Chujio had always been a person who liked to join in the fun. Seeing such a scene, she was so happy that her eyelashes were blooming. If it were not for the fact that President Gu did not say anything, this fellow would have already gone to the roadside to have a meal. After City Lord Murong had arranged the accommodation for the people from the 10 Directions Academy. Then he cupped his fists and said, "President Gu, it just so happens that the people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy also arrived in Miracle City earlier. I will be the host tonight to welcome both of you." After President Gu politely agreed, City Lord Murong left. President Gu gave them some advice and did not detain them. He told them to wander around the city freely, but they were not allowed to cause any trouble. Upon hearing this, He Xinjiu immediately dragged Ding Wenru and ran away in high spirits. A certain respected figure who had been ignored immediately looked a little unhappy. He glanced at Nangong Shi, who was also a little disappointed, and said coldly, "In the future, take care of your people." Nangong Shi, Ding Wenru had clearly been dragged away by Yan Qingqing, alright? If you want to take care of her, you should be the one taking care of Yan Qingqing. However, he did not dare to say anything and only silently nodded his head. However, when he thought about how Beiyu had said that Ding Wenru was his person, he felt an inexplicable sweetness in his heart. Chapter 58-99. Trash and ugly. He Xinjiu was like a bird out of its cage. She had long forgotten about a certain someone. She was strictly controlled in the 10 Directions Academy and could not go anywhere, let alone go out and eat happily. There was no reason for her to be unhappy. Ding Wenru was also a foodie. The two of them hit it off and were so happy that they were about to float. They bought and ate along the way. Yun Chujia's eyes could not help but light up when she saw the shop in front. "Sister Ding, let's go. Let's go to the bookstore in front for a walk," He Xinjiu said impatiently. Ding Wenru often saw He Xinjiu looking at the shy storybook, and a rare blush appeared on her face. "Qingqing, I think. Let's not go." He Xinjiu was not willing to listen. She dragged Ding Wenru into the bookstore. This guy was picky and bought a lot of books. The shopkeeper was very attentive when he saw such a big customer. When he paid the bill, not only did he wipe the change but he also gave Yun Chujio a book. After Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru left, a waiter came to the shopkeeper's side and said curiously, "Shopkeeper, aren't those two the famous trash twins from the Academy of 10 Directions? Why are you treating them so well?" The shopkeeper glared at the waiter. "I don't care if they are trash twins. As long as they enter this shop, they will be our customers. If you offend the customers in the future, you will be punished." The waiter shrunk his neck. "Shopkeeper, I'm just talking to you behind your back. When I served them before, I always smiled apologetically. I didn't expect those two trash to have such a strong taste in books." He Xinjiu didn't he know that she and Ding Wenru had become the talk of others. She was in a good mood now. The two of them found a restaurant. Since the private room on the second floor was full, they had to find an empty table on the first floor and sit down. While waiting for the dishes to be served, Yun Chujio remembered the book that the manager had given her. She took it out and glanced at it. There were 3 big words written on it, "Atlas of Heroes." Ding Wenru came over and said, "This thing is probably similar to the Atlas of the Chosen Ones of our academy. It's probably an introduction to the students participating in the 100-year grand competition this time." Yun Chujio opened it and found that it was true. This booklet was divided into 2 sides. One side was an introduction to the students of the 10 Directions Academy, and the other side was an introduction to the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. The first page of the 10 Directions Academy was the Northern Yu. It was full of praise and was even titled as the Young Master of the Northern Yu. Next were some of the outstanding figures of the 10 Directions Academy. Nangong Shi Jiang Shuangli by Yuechen Jianzhuyu, and the others were all listed. Ding Wenru said in puzzlement, "Qingqing, why don't you see our names? Go back and look." At the end of the page they finally saw their names. The description on it said, Yan Qingqing, first level of the divine summoning, fire spiritual root, spiritual beast as a red claw. Ding Wenru, 8th level of the divine summoning realm, fire spirit root, and a spirit beast with a spirit fire leopard. The two of them were not very talented and their looks were ugly. They had obtained the qualifications to participate in the half-year grand competition by some shady means, so they were called trash and ugly. He Xingjiu and Ding Wenru were so angry that they almost choked. Ding Wenru was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Who the hell wrote this? It was simply nonsense. Yun Chujiu gritted her teeth. This is too much. I'm so angry. Other people write on a single piece of paper, but here they actually wrote it together. How stingy. Ding Wenru, your focus has gone off the mark, alright? Chapter 5900 meets Lan Luochen again. Ding Wenru cursed a few times and then said, Qingqing, the owner of the bookstore, said that this book has just started selling, so there aren't many people who bought it. If there are too many people who buy it, I'm afraid they will point fingers at us. Yun Chujiu said indifferently, we can say whatever we want. It's not like they said that we would lose a piece of meat. Besides, facts speak louder than words. When we shine in the competition, the booklet will naturally be a slap in the face. Ding Wenru said with a wry smile, Qingqing, to be honest, I'm really not confident. Our cultivation level is so low. It's already good enough if we don't embarrass ourselves, let alone shine. Yun Chujiu was about to say something when a group of people walked in from the door. He Xingjiu saw one of them and immediately lowered her head. She lowered her voice and said, Don't talk to me. When the food is served, let's pack it up and leave. Ding Wenru was puzzled and looked at the people who had just come in. They were both men and women, and they were all wearing the clothes of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. Each of them had extraordinary looks, especially one of the men who was so handsome that people couldn't take their eyes off him. However, there was a faint gloomy look between the brows of that man, which made people feel apprehensive. Ding Wenru was puzzled. Could it be that Qingqing knew these people? Moreover, they had a grudge? Otherwise, why would she avoid them? Although she was curious, she tactfully did not ask. She picked up the book from before and compared it. On the first page she saw the portrait of that gloomy man. Lan Luochen, 7th level of the spirit summoning realm, water spiritual root, spiritual beast as Qilin. He was extremely talented and his cultivation speed was astonishing. As soon as he entered the academy, he directly entered the upper house of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. In a short period of time, he became the outstanding figure of the upper house and was known as Young Master Luochen. Yun Chujiu also caught a glimpse of what was written on it and cursed in her heart. Damn it, bad luck, really bad luck. If she had known that she would encounter blue dregs here, she would not have come here to eat. Although she had taken a disguise pill, she could not guarantee that Lan Luochen would not recognize her. The thought of Lan Luochen made He Xingjia's head hurt. This Lan Luochen was a typical psychopath. She did not want to have any relationship with him. Fortunately, the dishes ordered by Yun Chujiu were served in a short while. Yun Chujiu randomly put the dishes into her storage ring. She gave Ding Wenru a look and the two of them got up to leave. When the two of them TSK, it's really you two. The reputation of the trash of the 10 Directions Academy was well deserved. Not only were they ugly but their cultivation levels were also low. Tell us, what kind of dirty tricks did you use to get the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition? Yun Chujiu was afraid of arousing Lan Luchen's suspicion, so she did not intend to pay attention to the man's provocation and continued to walk forward. Unexpectedly, the man with a croaky voice stood up and stopped the two of them. Are you deaf or mute? Didn't you hear me calling you? Or is it that the 10 Directions Academy is afraid of the Divine Enlightenment Academy and doesn't even dare to speak? The man said arrogantly. Ding Wenru knew that Yun Chujiu did not want to expose herself, so she said, Get out of the way. We still have things to do. We'll talk about it when there's a big competition. The male duck's voice curled his lips. TSK, you must be Ding Wenru, right? As expected, ugly people are always causing trouble. You're as strong as a tiger and as thick as a bear, but you actually got together with Nangong Shi. You're really capable. Chapter 5901 Competition. Ding Wenru was so angry that her face turned livid. You should speak with more respect or else. Or else what? You piece of trash, do you still want to fight? TSK, if you really dare to fight, I will make your 10 Directions Academy's participation quota become 48. The male duck's voice said with a strange laugh. In his opinion, it was a good opportunity for him to make a name for himself by easily taking care of Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru. People like to pick the soft persimmon. The others in the restaurant started to make noise, pointing at Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru. Yin Chujio naturally wouldn't put a clown like the male duck voice in her eyes. If she didn't care about Lan Luochen, this guy would have long let the male duck voice know how powerful he was. She shook her head at Ding Wenru. Ding Wenru suppressed her anger and said, "Get out of the way. Otherwise, if this matter is blown up, it won't be good for either of us." The man with the croaky voice had made up his mind to sensationalize the crowd. How could he stop? He put on a fake smile and said, "If you admit publicly that the 10 Directions Academy is inferior to the Divine Enlightenment Academy, I will let you go. If not, let's have a contest." The students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy behind the man with the croaky voice all looked like they were watching a good show. No one said anything to stop them. Lan Luochen, on the other hand, had his back to them. He was flipping through the booklet in his hand, as if he did not care about what was happening here. Ding Wenru had seen the introduction of the croaking voice in the booklet. Guan Zijie was at the 5th level of the Divine Enlightenment realm and had a wood spiritual root. His cultivation level was far higher than hers. If they fought, there was no chance of winning. At this moment, Yin Chujio gave her a look. She actually wanted her to agree to Guan Zijie's provocation. Although Ding Wenru was uncertain, she had always followed Yin Chujio's lead. She immediately gritted her teeth and said, "Okay, let's have a competition. Let's go outside." Guan Zijie did not expect that Ding Wenru would actually dare to agree. However, since she was asking for it, he would grant her her wish. Therefore, he said arrogantly, "Okay, today I will let everyone see how useless and unbearable the students of the 10 Directions Academy are." Ding Wenru bit her lips and did not say anything. She was thinking about what she could use. She liked refining artifacts and had also refined a lot of spiritual artifacts recently. Although the quality was average, it was superior in quantity. Some of them had been improved according to her idea. If she used all these spiritual artifacts, she might have a. Although the quality was very low, they were all super-grade jade talisman seals which could help her. Ding Wenru thought for a while and had already arrived outside the restaurant. Some busybodies had already cleared the street in front of the restaurant and shouted, "Come and see! Come and see! The students of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy are going to fight." The 100-year grand competition had been pre-rehearsed. Let's wait and see who will win and who will lose. Soon a lot of people gathered. Since the bookshelves in the bookstore had already started to sell, many people had a preliminary understanding of Guan Zijie and Ding Wenru. Almost everyone thought that Ding Wenru was asking for humiliation. Wasn't it obvious that she was going to be slapped by Guan Zijie? Jian Zhuyu, Xiao Lianxiao and the others were also in the crowd. Although Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu weren't on good terms, the two of them had the same goal now, so they often got together. Xiao Lianxiao gloated and said, "Ding Wenru will definitely lose. She has embarrassed herself in front of so many people. She will definitely be punished. She might even be disqualified from participating in the competition." Chapter 5902 Persuasion, Lian Xiao, let's go and persuade her. Jian Ziyu's eyes flashed as she said, "Are you crazy? I can't wait for the two of them to be unlucky. Why should I persuade her? It would be better if she was beaten to death." Xiao Lianxiao snorted. Jian Zhuyu chuckled and said, "After all, this concerns the reputation of the 10 Directions Academy. If the people in the academy knew that we were present but did not persuade them, it would be inevitable that they would have some complaints. Moreover, do you think that even if we go up and persuade them, we can really stop this fight?" Xiao Lianxiao was stunned for a moment. She secretly cursed this bitch in her heart that she was really good at putting on a show. No wonder her reputation was so much better than hers. Jian Zhuyu saw that she did not say anything and directly walked out of the crowd. She said softly, "This student from the Divine Enlightenment Academy, I am Jian Zhuyu from the 10 Directions Academy. The person next to me is Xiao Lianxiao." Even if Jian Zhuyu didn't introduce herself, the people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy recognized her and Xiao Lianxiao. After all, everyone knew the name of the four fairies of Drifting Cloud and Zhuyu. Guan Zijie changed his previous arrogance and said with a bit of flattery, "So it's Fairy Zuvu and Fairy Lianeo. I've long heard of your names. Toda. I finally saw your real faces. You are indeed amazing. The other people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy also came over to greet them. It was true that they were opponents in the 100-year competition, but in the future after graduation, they would have to interact with each other. Moreover, Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianqiu's family backgrounds were not ordinary. It was better to be on good terms with them than to offend them. Only Lan Luochen looked indifferent and did not speak. Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianqiu were shocked by his appearance. They had not bought the Atlas of Heroes, so they did not know about Lan Luchen's information. They could not help but feel puzzled. Since when did the Divine Enlightenment Academy have such a person? They had never heard of such a person in all the big families? Also, why did his appearance look familiar? He looked 60 to 70% similar to Bai Yuechen. Could it be? They had heard that the Bai family had found a young Master Biao. Could it be that he was the young Master Biao of the Bai family who came from the lower continent? Jian Zhuyu came back to her senses and said to Guan Zijie with a smile, I wonder if Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru of the academy have offended you? Peace is the most important thing for everyone. It's better if we don't do anything. Guan Zijie said with a smile, logically speaking, if Fairy Zhuyu came out to plead for us, If I let them go so easily, the Divine Enlightenment Academy would lose face. How about this, if they can apologize to us in public, then we can forget about today's matter. Trash and ugly? Xiao Lianqiu burst out laughing and gloated at Yin Chujio. Jian Zhuyu was also gloating in her heart, but she was much more shrewd than Xiao Lianqiu. She frowned slightly. Yan Qingqing, Ding Wenru, President Gu repeatedly warned us not to cause trouble. Why are you deliberately provoking the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy? The competition is coming, so don't stir up trouble. Hurry up and apologize to the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. Lian Xiao and I will help to make peace. If the big issue is resolved, the small issue will be resolved and this matter will be put behind us. When the onlookers saw Jian Ziyu's actions, they all praised, see. Fairy Zhuyu is indeed like the rumors. She has a pure heart and is reasonable. The gap between this person and others is really big. Those two trash are from the Academy of 10 Directions. They can't be compared to Fairy Zhuyu and Fairy Lian Xiao. Chapter 59:03 Ding Wenru was very angry. She said coldly, I didn't do anything wrong. What right do I have to apologize to them? They were the ones who started the trouble. What wrong did we do? Jian Zhuyu sighed. Ding Wenru, I know that you and Yan Qingqing have always been arrogant. But this is not the 10 Directions Academy. You'd better apologize to them quickly. Otherwise I can't protect you. When the crowd heard that, they immediately labeled Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru as arrogant and despotic and ungrateful. Ding Wenru was livid with anger, but she was not as eloquent as Yun Chujio. For a moment she did not know how to refute. She was puzzled. If it was in the past, Qingqing would have come out to kill this Jian Zhuyu. Why didn't she say anything today? It seemed that she was really afraid of one of them. Just as Ding Wenru was thinking, she saw Yun Chujio smiling at Jian Zhuyu. Jian Zhuyu, since you care so much about the big picture and care so much for your classmates, he'll leave these people to you. Just apologize on our behalf. Sister Ding, let's go. After Yun Chujio said that, she dragged Ding Wenru into the crowd and ran away. Jian Zhuyu? Guan Ziljie? The others? There was actually such an ostentatious operation? Wasn't this blame thrown too smoothly? Wasn't this skin too thick? A strange light flashed in Lan Luchen's eyes. Beiyu? Yan Qingqing? Could it be the two people he had guessed? However, her looks were secondary. The main thing was that this spiritual root and spiritual beast did not match. Was it really her? Xiao Lianqiu gloated at Jian Ziyu's misfortune. She deserved it. She deserved it. Weren't you willing to pretend to have a good impression of her? Let's see how you'll end up this time. Jian Zhuyu hated Yun Chujio so much that she gnashed her teeth. However, at this point she could only gnash her teeth and say, fellow students, I'm really sorry. Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru usually do whatever they want. I can't do anything about them. How about this, I'll apologize to you guys on their behalf. Let's forget about this matter? It wouldn't be good if this matter was brought to the attention of the teachers. Fairy Zhuyu, you're too polite. Since you're helping them, let's forget about this matter. Guan Zijie had originally wanted to make a name for himself by bullying Ding Wenru and Yun Chujio. Now that he had taken this opportunity to get to know Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianqiu, he naturally wanted to use this opportunity to get down from his perch. After a dispute ended, the onlookers dispersed. Jian Zhuyu exchanged a few more pleasantries with Guan Zijie and the others before they left. Xiao Lianqiu said sarcastically, Jian Zhuyu, you deserve it. I told you to pretend to be a good person, B. She snorted coldly. Don't forget, there's a welcoming banquet tonight. Xiao Yanxiao instantly understood what Jian Zhuyu meant. During the welcoming banquet tonight, Guan Zijie and the others would definitely find trouble with Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru. There would be a good show to watch. On the other side, Yun Chuzhou dragged Ding Wenru out of the crowd and ran to another street to continue eating. Qingqing, which one of them are you afraid of? It can't be that Lan Luochen, right? I think all of you are from the heavy cloud continent. I've never seen you afraid of anyone. What's going on? Ding Wenru asked curiously. Yun Chuzhou said unhappily, it's that crazy Lan Luochen. I can't wait to never see him in my life. I've never seen such a crazy person like him. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.